Yo, what's up, everyone? This is episode 136 of PM and the PM, and this is weird because you're hearing me start the show instead of the one and only Pong Soul, because this man who tormented me for about a month and made me turn into Sniffles for everybody in the community is now too sick to host the podcast tonight. He has a cough. So he said, "Hey Mav, I need your help, Mr. Sniffles, because I'm sick myself." So guess what? Here I am while he's coughing and dying because I can't even laugh without coughing. Here hosting PM and the PM. Lucky for me though, it's not just me. And I don't have to rely on Pong's sick ass to help carry the show a little bit because we got a special guest today. But yeah, thanks everybody here for showing up on Call of Duty launch night. This is going to be a really big week for games. It's a really big day for Xbox as well. So a very important day, I think, for them, at least on as far as like seeing how this whole thing is going to go and stuff. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Thanks everybody for being here. Yeah, we got special guests today. We don't have a lot of guests. We haven't actually had a guest on PM and the PM in a while. It's been a minute, but we have the one and only Randall Thor 19 joining us. What's up, Rand? How you doing, man?
What's up, Mr. Sniffles? And what's up, Mr. Pong So? How you guys doing?
I'm still he's literally can't even speak, and I am still Sniffles. Okay.
Because I
You're
show
still
up.
Sniffles.
I show up. You don't. That's the difference.
And I just want everybody to know, it is kind of weird because Mav's camera right now is flipped. So it's like the opposite of what everybody sees on YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
And it's driving me crazy because you don't ever see Mav like this. You're like seeing a different side of him. It's odd.
It's the same side of my face. It just looks opposite to you. But if you want, Rand, you can just pull up the YouTube feed and you can watch that if it like is too disorienting for you. I don't want to confuse you.
It's good. It's just it's unexpected.
Right on, man. But you doing good?
Yeah, we're doing good. It's it's an interesting time in gaming for sure, right? A lot of changing, a lot of things going on. Games coming out. We got Call of Duty coming out tomorrow, and Indiana Jones coming out in December. Stalker. It's definitely been a pretty interesting year in a lot of ways for a lot of different reasons, and looking at next year, like next year seems to be loaded.
Yeah.
In almost like how 2023 was in a way. Like everybody was kind of, all right, these are the COVID delays where we couldn't get it in 2021 or 2022. Everything is 2023. And now it seems like 2024 is a little bit lighter. I guess that depends on who you ask. Like if you're not someone into JRPGs, and this year might be on the lighter side or something, but next year seems like
games as well.
Or strategy games.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for me, I'm not into strategy games. I'm not into RTSs, and I'm not really into JRPGs. Although I do have Metaphor ReFantasia, and I did play the demo for a couple hours, and I kind of liked it. And I'm kind of debating about myself whether or not I should play it, because I know it's a time sink, and I'm just not sure if it's something I would like to spend 80 to 100 hours in. And maybe I just need to just spread my wings and expand my horizons more. Because there was a point in time I did like JRPGs.
When was
back
that
during
time? Was that like 360 days or like
that was during the PS1, PS2 era with Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, 9, 10, Shadow Hearts, if anybody remembers Shadow Hearts, or Chrono Cross, and I was really into it at that age, at that time. And I've kind of like found myself maybe like moving away from it. Like I've never played an Atlas game, so I've never played a Persona game, but I don't know. Maybe I'll play it. We do have some. November does really not much outside of Stalker that I'm really interested in, so maybe I could squeeze in Metaphor. I did squeeze in Cyberpunk this year, and that was a game I was waiting to play. And what do you know? It's like my favorite game of the generation.
Yeah.
So, God, that game was so good.
It definitely is. If you do end up playing Metaphor ReFantasio, then I have a couple recommendations for you after you finish it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Unicorn Overlord, which also came out early this year, and Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
Mm.
But that would require you play it on a PlayStation or a PC. And I don't know how you feel about that.
I don't see. What are you trying to say, Mav?
No, nothing.
Trying to say. I literally just got done playing a game on my. This has been the most I've used my PS5 since I got it, right? Because I use my PlayStation 5 for games that don't come to Xbox. So usually just the Sony exclusives. And so like every year there's only a handful. Like at launch it was Miles Morales, it was Demon's Souls, it was
Returnal around then.
Well, I was saying like it was Playroom, Astro's Playroom, and I forget what else, but 2021 was just Returnal and Ratchet, and then 2022 was just really God of War, and I think maybe another game, and then last year was like Final Fantasy 16 and Oxenfree 2, but this year, God, I played Silent Hill 2, played Stellar Blade, I played Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
Yeah, they had a great.
I forget what else I played on there. So,
did you try Black Myth Wukong?
No. I was gonna wait until that came to Xbox.
Right on.
Because I figured it was gonna come to Xbox sooner than like, hey, it's coming in a year. Like Silent Hill 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says it's a 1-year console exclusive. But as we've seen with these sort of stuff, we're not sure if that means exactly after a year to come to the Xbox, or it'll maybe be 2 years, or maybe it never comes. And I love Silent Hill 2, so I was like, this is a game I want to play. So I don't mind, I'll play it right now, and if it comes to Xbox in a year or a year and a half, then I won't have any. I'll play it again if because I really like that game. So yeah, there's it's been a good year.
Yeah, lots of stuff to play for sure.
Lots of stuff. Are you finishing lots of stuff though, Mav?
No.
Oh, okay. So basically, Pong, Mav follows along the Jez route.
Well, and the me route too, because I am a grazer. Yeah, I'm a grazer.
Yeah, you're a grazer?
Yeah, I don't finish games. Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, it's about the experience, Rand. It's not about finishing the game.
Yeah, but there's the experience of going through a game and finishing it the whole way through.
Not really. Not when I got 100 other games that I love to play.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, to each their own. To each their own.
No, absolutely. Certain games, excuse me, certain games I will finish, obviously, like Cyberpunk. I finished that, obviously. I'm still not even close to finishing Starfield. It's one of my favorite games of all time. My favorite game of all time. I put 400 hours in. I haven't even started the main mission yet.
Really?
So, yeah, that's just who I am as a gamer.
The mission's really good, too.
Yeah, but I'm having too much fun being a pirate. Actually role-playing in a role-playing game. Imagine that, right? So yeah, no, I'm it's just who I am as a grazer. So no, I totally understand where Mav's at, because that's kind of who we are too. It's just like, no, if I finish a game, it's either really good or I'm co-oping it with Steel or Mav or somebody, because that's usually the way I finish them. But some big games, I'll never finish. I'll just never.
Yeah, and
so,
there's games like NBA and Madden, like you don't finish.
Sure, you don't finish those.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or like Fortnite. But do you guys remember, speaking of Starfield, do you guys remember back in the good old days when you guys were the marchers, the Starfield marchers?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everybody was always trying to figure out when Starfield was going to release. The good old days, right? Look back on those with fond memories. Well, they said this and this thing, so maybe that could.
We still bring it up because it could have happened.
Yeah, I guess it could have.
It could have.
Well, I mean, I guess it was even could have come out in 2021.
Yeah. Oh, it was so much fun, Rand, because we had so many people worked up about it that we started that. That was crazy.
Yeah, I think actually you guys started it. I forget where the actual term marcher.
Yeah, Rand came up with it.
The marchers? Did I come up with it?
Yeah, you came up with that because you and Jez were talking about it, and you just said, "What do they call themselves? The marchers?" And we just rolled with
the
it.
Marchers Cabal is what you said. I think is what it was. Yeah, so we just like, hey, yeah, let's just fucking roll with this. Yeah, it's fun. That's the fun speculation though. It's like instead of the speculation like Xbox is going out of business after this, or
Xbox dies every single week if you pay attention to the comments and the Twitters and the YouTubes.
Oh
Seems
yeah.
like there's a video every single day about how Xbox is dying this time, but this time it's for real.
Well, this is Xbox do or die with
Oh
Call
yeah,
of Duty. That's what it's been going
yeah.
on now. Is like if but there's two conversations, and we're gonna get into this in a little bit, but it's Xbox either needs to market more for Game Pass and really push Game Pass, but also Game Pass is causing them not to have enough sales, so it's not going to sell well on Xbox, so it's not benefiting them. So that's the two narratives that are coming from the same people, but it's like the opposite mentality. It's like, do you want them to push Game Pass or do you not want them to push Game Pass? It doesn't make sense because they're saying the opposite thing, but using it both as negatives towards Xbox and whatever.
Make or
way,
break.
right? Yeah.
Every time an Xbox game releases, or at least a high-profile one, it's make or break for the whole. Starfield came out, it was make or break. When Hellblade 2 came out, it was make or break.
Yeah.
You know, now that Call of Duty's out, it not only it's make or break for Game Pass now, and I'm sure when we get into next year, it'll be Avowed. No, it'll be make or break for these studios. South of Midnight's make or break. Fable, that's definitely make or break, right? And it'll just continue to go on and on and on.
Yep. Doom.
Forever. And you know what? If you've been around long enough, they used to do this stuff with the Wii U and with the PS3. There used to be like a whole chalkboard meme on forums that were like, what game was going to save the Wii U? And it was like every exclusive that would come out would be on the chalkboard, and then there would be a line out on it when it didn't save, quote unquote, the system. Same thing with the PS3. It was like Resistance, Killzone 2, Lair, all these games that were supposed to save the PS3, and then you know,
they were always looking for their Halo killer back then too. It was like Haze. Remember Haze?
Oh yeah.
Then there was always Killzone, Resistance. You know, this is gonna destroy Halo, and they don't need it. They had Call of Duty marketing, and then that didn't matter anymore, right? That was really kind of what pushed them. But hey, Sniffles 2.0, who just flicked a fly, I think. I'm not sure what that was.
Yeah, but... I'm trying to kill his ass. He's bothering the hell out of me.
What's up, man? How you doing? I know you're sick, but you're
gonna be able to push through? Oh yeah, like I said, that's the difference between us two. I come and I show up. I went to work all week this week too, man. It's terrible. I'm on the other side of the hump, but it's still here. And obviously, like I said, I'm not going to be as loud and boisterous as I normally am or talkative as I normally am, which sucks because Rand's here and I haven't talked to Rand in a long ass time. Thanks, Rand, again for being here, brother, and giving us your time. It's been so long since I've heard your voice, man. You know, I excuse me. It's been a weird week, man, because I've been so damn sick. You know, gaming wise, you know, I'm boring this week because I've been playing Diablo, Vessel of Hatred, of course, nonstop. I finally soloed and got to Torment 1. Just last night, in fact. So I'm on Torment 1 now, so I'm starting to, you know, ramp up a little bit, but having a good time with that game. Really going through the story and the campaign itself, the new expansion, very slowly, enjoying myself, doing a lot of the other side stuff too. But so I've been doing that, but I can say that I know this is going to be bad. I'm really trying not to go supersonic on the coughs here. It's just one stupid dry spot. You guys know how that is. Like after you get over being sick,
it's when you keep
that one spot,
and then it hits you in the back of your throat, and then it's like, oh shit, this is getting worse. It's not going away. And then you end up hacking your balls off while you're just.
Yeah, when I first jumped in with Mav, I had a coffee fit where I was tearing up. I was like literally crying because I was coughing so much. But Steele and I last weekend, we actually jumped into Mech Warrior 5 Clans. The new Mech Warrior 5 game that showed up out of the blue onto Game Pass. And we jumped into that. Because we didn't have Living Split Screen last weekend. So we jumped into that and streamed it for 5 hours. We had a great time. Now that's up to a 5-player co-op. I know, Mav, you said you might be down for jumping in. We might have to jump in. I know it's going to be Black Ops. Trust me, I get it. But I'm just saying at some point we might have to jump back into that because Steele and I had a freaking fantastic time. It was much improved over the first one. Steele and I did co-op in the first one as well. the latest Mech Warrior 5 when it first came out. The way that they set this one up, it does play faster. I know, Mav, you had tried it out a little bit. You had mentioned that it does play faster than the first one did. And just the co-op itself, because you can select your group of mechs now, and you're not in the first time around in the first game, they forced you into one of you was in a big mech, and then the other one would have to go into a small mech. Whereas now you can guys can be in both large Titan mechs if you want to, or a medium mech and a large mech. You can do whatever you want to do this time around. Still all the customization, but they really refined the UI. Again, 5 hours straight, Steel and I wasn't feeling good on Sunday. That's when I really knew I was in deep, because I knew the sickness was coming, but we still had a blast. So Mech Warriors 5, again, lot to play. Clans is out. Go give it a try if you're any kind of a mech fan. If you've been thinking about, again, no risk. It's a Game Pass. And it was a surprise, but really, really good. So Steel and I had a great time with that. So that's my boring week. I've been wanting to jump into Metaphor Refantasio. That was my plan this week, but with the sickness, just hasn't happened. I needed something where I turn off my brain, and of course that's Diablo. But now we got Black Ops 6. So, the family's going to be getting together this weekend. We're going to be doing some Black Ops 6 runs, I'm sure. So, yeah, that's like I said, I'm kind of boring, but I did get one kind of interesting game in there in Mech Warrior 5 Clans. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Mech Warrior is good. I haven't played a lot of it yet, but I've played enough to get the feeling for it. I do wish it had PvP though.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that. And that would be cool if they did add that too. Got to say this, the actual story is a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be. It's a little, if you haven't read the lore on Mech Warrior, and I played the tabletop game way back in the day, but I'm certainly no Mech Warrior lore guy at all. You're going to get kind of lost, because the politics in Mech Warrior are about the same as they are in Warhammer. So if you're not like up on it, it's going to sound like a bunch of just gibberish a lot of times, but they actually have fully acted a ton of cutscenes, like a ton. And some of the cutscenes are like 10 minutes long. Like, I was impressed.
Yeah.
Not that they're the greatest thing. It's a AA game, but the fact that they put all that effort into it shows something. And Steel and I were like, we were quiet during the whole thing watching, because we were kind of engaged with the story. So it is something they did pull off pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been really the last few weeks have just been kind of crazy with stuff to play. You had Metaphor Refantasio, been playing the hell out of that. Mech Assault, or not Mech Assault, Mech Warrior. I always say Mech Assault because that's like the de facto mech game in my head. Mech Warrior dropped into Game Pass kind of almost randomly, like announced like a week before it happened. Then we've still been playing, me and you have been playing a lot of Age and Aura. I actually streamed Aura yesterday.
I saw that.
And
I saw you streaming Aura.
I was streaming it thinking, all right, I'm going to stream this for like an hour. But like what Aura does to you, it just melts time. And then I got downstairs and Kate's like, you know what time it is? I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like, that game just like, for some reason, I think it's because like you're always taking a turn and you're always making small decisions after small decision. Then you get caught up in something else, and then you have to see that through. And before you know it, like a lot of time has passed, right? Without really feeling like it. It's still been one of my favorite games of this year. It would be nice if it had been day and date on both console and PC, right? But eventually, I think it'll hit console as well, so people can try it out there. And Age of Mythology Retold, we just got news that there's another new mode coming to it. You had shared this with me. Some kind of co-op dynamic campaign experience is coming there, and we still have the other expansion happening already this year for Age of Mythology Retold, which I know for a lot of people those games don't count, right? Because you're not into those games, and that's fine if you're not into them. But I think, in just as a way of like grading, like Xbox releases for the year, right? They just get overlooked and bypassed just because the games aren't for them, but they still release good quality, great games, even if they're not necessarily for you specifically. So far, Xbox this year's had for first party Hellblade 2, they had Aura History Untold and Age Mythology Retold. Now we also had expansions for Starfield and Diablo 4. Tonight we're getting the biggest of them all with Call of Duty Black Ops 6. followed by Flight Sim 2024 coming soon, and then Indiana Jones hitting in December. So for me, overall, if you look at it at the end of 2024, when you're kind of going back and looking at the year that 2024 is, I'm like, it's a pretty damn impressive first party year for a platform with all the releases that they have, the expansions, the ongoing content for all that kind of stuff. Plus also, you have stuff like Stalker 2, which is a third party game. It might as well, like with how they're marketing it and all that kind of stuff going into Game Pass day and date. It feels like I know it's probably a temporary exclusive or timed exclusive, but it feels like this kind of platform exclusive, at least for a while, right? PC day and date as well, obviously, for that one. But that game's been getting glowing previews. I don't know if it'll hit the mark for the cutoff date on Game of the Year considerations. It'll be interesting to see where that hits. But there's been, including actually Jez had mentioned this in his article, Rand, that he could have potentially played in his preview a Game of the Year contender. Do you think some of that was overplayed from some of the people? Because it wasn't just Jez, it was many people. I think Paris had glowing comments about Stalker 2. You had, I think it was even Games Radar. I saw something with them really hyping it up as well. Where do you think Stalker 2 actually lands when it...
No idea. No idea. I mean, it is... Jez, when he first played it at Gamescom last year, hated it.
Right.
Like, he was like, this isn't for me. Like, it needs more time in the oven. I don't like this. And then he played it this time, and his opinion 180'd completely, where he was like, this is a Game of the Year contender. I haven't been so immersed in the game in a long time, etc., etc., etc. As for reviews, they could go any sort of way. I mean, you can imagine that maybe some reviewers might be soft on the game because of what they've gone through.
Yeah.
Right? So that maybe they're thinking, oh, well, we would give this an 8, but because of circumstances, let's maybe give them an 8.5 or a 9, right? I'm not saying that maybe people people consciously make that choice, but they could, subconsciously. But also maybe the difficulty scares some people away and makes it difficult because apparently, by all accounts, it is a very difficult game, at least on normal or even on the harder difficulty, where if you're going in expecting Metro or like Call of Duty, then you're probably going to be disappointed. So I guess it's more about like aligning your expectations to what Stalker is. And so I don't even know myself. I'm not sure. I've never played a Stalker game, right? I don't know. I've never even seen videos of Stalker, like the originals. Like, yeah, I've seen the trailers that they do for Stalker 2, but I honestly don't know what to expect. Like, when I see those games, I instinctively think, oh, that looks like Metro 2033 or Metro Exodus or Metro Last Light. And I love those games. But everybody tells me, is like, no, don't go in expecting that. So I'll just have to wait and see. And I'm sure there'd be a lot of reviewers out there that are probably in the same boat. It's like, I was expecting this and I went in to play it and it wasn't what I was expecting, so I'll rate it lower. I don't know. I really do hope they nail it out of the park, because it would be such a great story of what they went through with the war against Russia. Here they are making this game, and it's been delayed quite a bit because I can't remember when this game was originally supposed to release.
2021, I think.
Was it 2021 or was it 2022? Yeah. It's been delayed a while.
I believe originally it was 2021, but that was a long time ago, right?
Yeah, and I think they gave it an original release. It was supposed to release on September 5th. Mm-hmm. And then, like, soon after, they delayed it to November 20th. And then soon after, Microsoft delayed Avowed to February of next year. So there's like a chain link of events that, maybe potentially led to Avowed getting shifted. And Avowed's like, all right, we're going to avoid Dragon Age and we're going to avoid Assassin's Creed Shadows. And then Assassin's Creed Shadows like, hi, Avowed, we're here again.
And it's like, okay. 10 other games that have now been...
Don't get me started.
Games.
Yeah. Don't get me fucking started. I hate this. Anyways.
Yeah. So now there's like a big opening in the middle of November. So we'll see. Maybe Avowed moves up. We did just see Life of the Yakuza game move up a week to avoid
Yeah.
Monster Hunter. Maybe somehow Avowed moves up a little bit to avoid those other games. But then some people say you don't need to because you're on Game Pass, and it's like, well, I mean, I get that line of thinking, but sometimes maybe the game gets glossed over because bigger games are around. And, I think when you're trying to, because for all intents and purposes, for most people, I think Avowed is a new IP. Even though it's set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, I think most people who are going to play Avowed, that is going to be their first time in that universe.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you want to give that game as much help as you can. So I understood why they moved it from November, but then again, I don't think they thought Assassin's Creed was going to move too, and they probably didn't know every other game in the world was also going to release in February. So
wait. But Rand Mav was on the show going, we always get big game releases in February now, so watch it all happen once that did happen. We've had this discussion. My problem, Rand, is you overthink this. Like, if you're Xbox, you can't overthink this. There is no good time to release games anymore. Like the way that the games lineup is, and Xbox knows what everybody's got going on for the most part, right? Everybody saw this coming. This was going to be another massive year in 2025. So moving Avowed to the beginning of the year didn't. Mav said it here, and I was like, you're right. It's going to happen. And sure enough, it's happened. There's going to be delays. There's going to be announcements. And all of a sudden, now here you are, smack dab in the middle of Assassin's Creed, Monster Hunter, and everything else around it. We just got Sniper Elites launching on January 30th, for God's sakes, which isn't a big game. But still, I'm just saying that it loads up fast nowadays, and I don't think there's a good time anymore. I think you got to drop your games when you got your games ready. Not that you drop 5 first-party games all at once, if that's the way they all line up. But when it comes to these trying to overthink it and move them around, you're just going to wind up hurting yourself again because there's just no good time. Everybody's making so many games now, Rand.
Yeah, I mean, you are, but Microsoft also had a lot of criticism and complaints for how the first half of this year played out.
Yeah.
They only released Hellblade 2.
Correct.
And in fact, even after Hellblade 2 came out, it wasn't until September until they released something else. So maybe they also looked at Avowed as being like, hey, we're not really sure how early 2025 is playing out for us. Like, we don't know when South of Midnight's coming out, or at least maybe they know when it might be targeting. I'm just saying they're the ones that said they want to target a big game every quarter. Not us. Like, that didn't come from anybody in the Xbox community. They've been talking about that since 2019. And sure, last year they hit it, which was the first year they did actually deliver. And it was like, oh my God, Microsoft is releasing games like every quarter. This is amazing. And then this year it was like, well, it was just Hellblade 2. And as much as I love Hellblade 2, obviously it seems like it wasn't a game for most people. And it was, some people will say it was like critically, maybe there was like media bias against that game. Like, some people who liked Hellblade 1 suddenly didn't like Hellblade 2 or whatever. So maybe there's some of that where they're like, okay, well, Stalker moved to November, and we're supposed to have Avowed, and then you go to the team and you're like, could you use extra time to polish this game up? And the team's probably going to be like, of course we can take extra time. We want to put out the best give it extra. And then, so like, yeah, they delay it, they move it because they don't want to launch against Assassin's Creed. Plus there's another RPG, Dragon Age, kind of launching around the similar time. And it's like, yeah, free us up some space. We also give gamers a game at the beginning of the year, which everybody loves when you actually have games to play, at the beginning of the year, instead of Microsoft always just forgetting the first 9 months of the year exist most of the time. And then you're right, Pong. It's like, well, everybody else is making stuff too. And you know what? A lot of their games are bigger than yours, especially like Avowed, which is on an unproven thing in comparison to a Monster Hunter, maybe even in comparison to a Kingdom Come Deliverance, because I think that's launching like the week before, or a Civilization 7, which I guess maybe there's not a lot of crossover there, but
no,
there's a lot of games vying for people's time and money.
The big games.
And yeah, they're big games. So we'll see what they do. I mean, are you guys excited for Avowed?
Yeah, it was my most
Yeah.
anticipated this year.
Okay. So
I'm partly selfish, and I admitted that when I went on my rant before when it first happened. Was that's part of my reason is because I already went through this with Starfield, right? But again, I don't get this concept, and I don't know why they. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna go back, but yeah. So Avowed was one of my most anticipated first party title this year that I really wanted to play. So yeah, so that one hurt, but yeah, I'm still excited for it. But now it is going to be smack dab into other games that I'm extremely excited for, and they're all big giant games.
hey,
So
third
I
world
don't know how
problems,
it's gonna be.
brother. Third
Oh
world.
yeah, no,
Right?
that's why I'm a
Like,
grazer.
First
That's why I'm a
world,
grazer, man.
problems. I mean,
Yeah, first world. That's why I'm a grazer. That's why I don't plan to finish games. That's why I don't finish games because I will hop around between all of them. Like it doesn't matter to me. I just really wanted to play Avowed this year.
yeah. I mean, Colt was also pretty.
Yeah, yeah.
He was really looking forward to it, and he was really upset when that game got delayed too.
For me, it's like a classic Western RPG in the vein of like a Bethesda title. Like I think this could do for the Pillars universe potentially, like kind of like what Morrowind and Oblivion did for the Elder Scrolls universe, kind of bring it to the masses in a different way as well. So in being on console day and date now with games like this where you're like Pillars before, I think the first one, if I'm not mistaken, the first one launched on PC first. And I played it there and I was enjoying it, but having this take on the universe and stuff, like they're bringing over a lot of the character from the Pillars universe, but they're kind of brightening it up and making it more appealing. But it's also like just pure Western RPG. And when a lot of people are complaining about the combat and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, and this feels like exactly what I would expect. Like Obsidian used to be kind of almost like BioWare's and Bethesda's little brother in a way. They would make sequels for their RPGs, right? They would do like Knights of the Old Republic 2. They did Neverwinter Nights 2, right? Then they went and did Fallout New Vegas and stuff. So they've had a history of working on all these different Western RPGs. They've done their own thing with Outer Worlds, and they did fantastic with that. And now they're bringing that same kind of thing to like a fantasy setting. And I know Avowed always kind of gets like judged differently from some because I think it has different expectations now that it's like Obsidian is a first party Xbox developer. So now they have to go above and beyond everything and be the next biggest thing in the world. But like, I think Xbox bought them to make Obsidian games, right? And to me, this screams like what I would hope and dream Obsidian would make. So that's why I'm super excited for Avowed. I think it's going to launch in really good shape because they did get the extra time. I think part of the delay was a little bit of a cop out. I think like they were using hey, we're so loaded on the back end that, hey, we just can't fit this game in here. So we got to move it, using the kind of energy from the community to kind of like not having negativity as much around pushing the game back. And that part of the reason for that is when they came out there and they said that it's not, or they didn't say it's not going to, but they said that their focus or whatever wasn't on 60 frames at launch and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, so it's obviously will be eventually, just like some of these other Xbox games. I'm hoping they can achieve that with the extra time that they get. But overall, yeah, I'm super hyped for that. I'm super hyped for Stalker too. But a lot of these games are always like, especially when they're Xbox games, like, and you can look at Age Mythology and Ara kind of the same way. Like, they don't get any credit whatsoever. Like, we literally just had a discussion about the release cadence, right, of the games this year. We had Hellblade, and then nothing until this last quarter. But there was also Ara and Age. Now, Ara is obviously on PC only, which sucks, right? But those are still big releases for Xbox. I think the community that we're all in kind of just doesn't really embrace those games as like part of the narratives and stuff. But there are a lot of players that play these games. Phil has been talking about how many players were playing all these Age games, even on console and stuff like that as well. So for me, they still count, but they don't count in when a lot of people are going and making their list and stuff. And it's like they just get bypassed and things like that, right? So for me, there wasn't as big of a gap between Hellblade and what we're getting now with all these other releases, because in August we had Age, and then what was it, early September, Ara, I think, or around that time. So there was stuff for me, right? But I know people that are like specific genres or whatever didn't feel that. And for me, but that's the same way as everything. Like, that's why I'm not as interested in PlayStation games, because they don't have as many games in the genres that I'm interested in, right? So it's just kind of always up to the person and preference. But yeah, it's interesting how expectations always change when these games are all of a sudden, we're owned by Xbox, we're owned by Microsoft, and I think we've seen that numerous times where they've kind of let these developers do their thing, and they get killed for it when the games release, because they're not the next big AAA needle mover. If this game doesn't succeed, it's going to die. We saw that with Hellblade 2. They literally made a way better version of Hellblade 1, right? But it wasn't a huge AAA slash 20-hour experience, so this doesn't count. Again, it's just thing after thing after thing. I do question one thing. I want to know what you guys think about this. This is a little bit of a conspiracy theory thing, right? So a lot of the conversations I've been seeing about Call of Duty and the Black Ops 6 is like, people are going to just subscribe for a month and unsubscribe and play Call of Duty. And it's just not going to do anything. Xbox is going to lose tons of money, and they're going to like get the shit into the stick. PlayStation's the only ones that are going to benefit from this because it's going to sell so much over there, while people just subscribe to Game Pass for a month and all this other kind of stuff, right? Which is ridiculous also. But anyway, if you were trying to think smart or cleverly about keeping the extra subscribers, because I think there will be a boost, who knows exactly how big, there will be a boost to Game Pass with Call of Duty being in there, right? If you want to try and keep those, would it be more beneficial to have a kind of loaded slate right after the release of Black Ops 6? Like, would that be in their strategy at all? Like, with, okay, we're going to release Call of Duty, but we need to make sure that we have other big games right after that. I know Avowed is almost contradictory to that, though, because they moved it out of the way. But you have, literally, in the next few weeks, you have, after Call of Duty comes out, you have Flight Sim, and then you have Stalker, and then you have Indiana Jones. All first-party games, which is pretty crazy. For any first party.
Stalker's not first party, but
yeah, first party, yeah.
But I mean, I guess
all Game Pass day and date, I should say that.
Are you talking about new subscribers who subscribe just for Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I guess you could narrow it down and be like, are those people who subscribe to play Black Ops even interested in something like Flight Sim? My guess would be no. So I think the people who play Black Ops religiously, that's the only thing they really care about is that game.
But in that case, they're just going to buy the game, right?
Well, I mean, they're going to do it. Yeah, I mean, there is that say, well, it is cheaper at that point to just buy Black Ops for $70.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus subscribing. But then again, you do need to pay to play the multiplayer on the consoles, and that does add up. So I don't know. I could see why they could be like, all right, we're going to have Call of Duty out, and because of this, we're going to have all these new subs, maybe 1 million, maybe 2 million or something, whatever it would do it. And we need to keep those people involved, and we need to make sure they stay. So, maybe that's why Avowed and Flight Sim were positioned for November. And maybe that's why Indiana Jones was positioned in November. Because I personally don't think December, is a great time to release a game. We don't really see it happen very much. Mm-hmm. Right? Because you release it in December, usually the holiday shopping, you miss that important Black Friday window. There's really not a lot of coverage for stuff in December outside of the Game Awards. If you release in December, your game's doesn't qualify for the Game Awards, so it doesn't really get any promotion from that. So like a game like Indiana Jones maybe should have come out April of next year. But maybe they were like, all right, well, Indiana Jones is recognizable to a lot of people. Let's try to get it out on Xbox this holiday right after Call of Duty. I mean, then again, there is a second party that's involved, Disney, and maybe Disney wanted it out this year. We don't know.
Yeah.
I really think that Call of Duty audience really is only interested in Call of Duty. I mean, I think we've seen the numbers or something like that, and it's like the vast majority of those people only play that game. I don't really think it matters what game you have in there, unless it was like another Call of Duty or something, like one of the earlier ones that would be like, well, I'm done playing Call of Duty. Oh, well, they put Smurfs in here. Let me go play some Smurfs or something. You know?
Right.
I don't know. It's I'm sure this is going to be a you're going to find out a lot about this. There's going to be a lot of data collected. How many people actually sign up for Black Ops 6? How many people that are currently a part of the subscription of 35 million or whatever it is are actually going to play it, that would have bought it? How many sales are you actually going to lose versus how many you normally would have sold, right? And I don't really think of it as like, oh, this would be the way that the games industry.biz article went, where it was like, this could be better for PlayStation, right? Because, well, PlayStation sells the game, they take their 30%, but then Xbox is going to lose sales because people are going to subscribe, and then they actually have to spend the money to make the game. But that doesn't factor, like the way the guy wrote the article, which he was just talking about game sales, but that kind of doesn't even factor in any of the microtransactions, which is where a lot of that money comes in. Sure, you'll get that headline of $1 billion made this weekend for the Call of Duty launch, but the money really comes in after that, where people are buying skins and battle passes and stuff. And that article writer didn't even reflect that, aspect of it, right? It was just
I don't
like,
even think he mentioned PC at all either, which is interesting. Like, because you have PlayStation, fine, yeah, PlayStation's going to make their 30% on it, like they always have. So it really doesn't really change much for them. But the company it really changes things for is Xbox, right? So like, isn't that why they bought them? Because they wanted to make all the money off of Call of Duty. It just didn't make any sense where he's coming from. It's like everybody that's going to play Call of Duty on Xbox is going to play it on Game Pass, right? And they're not going to spend any money. And that's just like, but then at the same time, they're saying that Xbox isn't doing enough to push Game Pass. A lot of these same people. So it's like they're like talking. I see the same people on shows or like on Twitter, literally almost in the same sentence, be like, man, they're not marketing Game Pass enough with Call of Duty. They need to really pushing Game Pass of Call of Duty. Why aren't they doing that? Because blah, 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 and all this stuff. But then they're going to go in, they're going to say, but also nobody is going to be buying Call of Duty on Xbox because it's in Game Pass. So it's like, well, how about this reality that we actually live in? Xbox is okay with you either playing it on Game Pass or they're okay with you buying the game. I think for people that are saying, well, why would you ever buy a game or sign up to a service for Call of Duty? Then they go out and they'll put like $240 for a year versus $70. Doesn't make sense. Well, no shit. If all you fucking play is Call of Duty, right? So if all you play is Call of Duty every year, just buy the fucking game. I don't think those people are going to all of a sudden be interested in all these other games because it's a Game Pass. But there are people that are already subscribers to Game Pass that weren't going to play Call of Duty or very interested in it that are going to now. And there are also gamers like me who did buy Call of Duty every year, but I already have Game Pass and I'm going to play it that way. But I'm going to take part in the microtransactions and all this other stuff like I do. And the same money I saved, I'm not having to buy Call of Duty. Guess what? I get to spend it on something else now, right?
Yeah. What skins are you gonna rock, man? What skins are you gonna buy?
I don't know, man. I've been rocking Skeletor forever, so it's time
Skeletor?
for a change.
Okay. You maybe get some Cody Rhodes or Ripley, like
maybe.
No?
I have to get more into wrestling again. My wife's been rocking Nicki Minaj for a while. But she has these like really shiny pink pants. It gets pretty distracting sometimes. But yeah, we've been rocking those skins. I also have a really cool skin that's like Ghost, but he has like a cowboy outfit and shit on. It's really cool. I like that one a lot. But yeah, we'll be getting skins, man. We're gonna be playing. Actually, we're gonna be playing Call of Duty tomorrow night on on Xbox Ultimate instead of doing our regular podcast. We're going to be streaming.
You mean you didn't take that trip down to New Zealand to get to play it early?
I didn't, not
Yeah.
yet. I'm gonna probably play early tomorrow, and play kind of off and on throughout the day, and then tomorrow we'll have our stream. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Like the beta was great. Did you play the beta?
I did not. No,
Mm.
I don't play Call of Duty multiplayer.
Will you play it because it's in Game Pass? And just to
Call of
try
Duty
it?
multiplayer? Absolutely not. I'm playing the campaign and that's it. I'm in and I'm out. Call of Duty campaign.
Right
Saving my $70 because I would have bought it to play the campaign like I do every single year. Now I don't have to, but no, I ain't playing the multiplayer. Why would it suddenly be in there? Would make
I don't
would
know.
make me want to play the multiplayer?
Just curious, man. Because here's one reason: because there will be maybe other people that are going to be playing that weren't playing before.
I don't care about that.
You could be friends with, and they're like,
don't
"Hey,
care
Rand,
about
come
that.
play multiplayer with me."
I got. There's so many other games coming. Like we just mentioned, how many games are coming out early next year? There ain't no
Oh,
time
man.
to play Call of Duty multiplayer. I got all these other games I need to play.
There are.
You know,
Absolutely.
there's no time to run around the maps and get kills and rank up and stuff.
If you were a grazer, there's time. 'Cause then you don't worry
I guess.
finishing, but you worry about finishing. See, that's the difference.
Yeah. I actually.
Well, you know,
finished
there was a
Modern
point in
Warfare
time
2's
where
campaign. I did.
There would have been a point in time where I would have played the multiplayer to get the multiplayer achievements.
Right.
Which is like, prestige ones or get the diamond stuff. So I would have played it, but not this time. Not this time, Call of Duty.
So Pong, do you
Yeah.
now? I'm not saying like that's 100% what they're doing, obviously, right? But with new players and everybody's concerned about people are subscribing, because the reason I bring this up, because this has just been the fucking stupid narrative that I keep seeing online, is that Xbox is not going to be doing anything because people are just gonna sign up for a month or two. So is that why everything's so backloaded, or no? Is it just kind of the way it is?
We've had this discussion. We had this discussion originally when we started talking about the speculation around this, what was going to happen. It is going to be a fascinating experiment to watch, right? Because the people that are only going to subscribe for a month or two are going to be Rand, right? That again, not Rand himself, because he's always subscribed to Game Pass, but I'm just saying, like, people like Rand who look at it and go, well, I have access to Game Pass. I've never subscribed to it, but I normally pick up Call of Duty to play the campaign, but now I can just pay a month's worth, play through the campaign, which will take less time than that, and then cancel my subscription and move on. There's always going to be a percentage of people that are like that. There's going to be a percentage of people who absolutely, like you said, Mav, are constant Call of Duty players that are just going to buy it because they're going to look at the monthly price and be like, well, shit, I'm going to play this for more than 3 months. So at that point, I've paid full price for it anyways, after the 3-month mark. So I'm just going to buy it like normal, right? Because that's what I play. That's one of my mains. That and Madden, right? The Madden Call of Duty players. So, those two are out. I've always said that I don't know how big of an impact this. We've had all sorts of speculation around this. Some people think that it's going to put Game Pass in another atmosphere, stratosphere, because of how big it is. And I've always said I don't know about that. But what I think it does do is, if there are people on the fence for Game Pass, it is a big addition. It's one of the biggest additions that you can make. So if there are people out there who throughout the year look at Game Pass and keep going back and forth whether or not they want to join and jump into Game Pass, but they see those gaps where there's a month where there's nothing there for them, or 2 months where there's nothing there for them, and it always kind of keeps them out. This could be the one that pushes them in if they are a player who does keep going back to Call of Duty. They don't have to be the hardest core Call of Duty player, but if there's somebody who enjoys Call of Duty throughout the year, kind of like I do, that could be the big additive where they go, okay, I'm going to jump in because Call of Duty will always be there, but I've got these other games that I do see coming in that I do want to try out, that I do want to play. I do see that they've got more first party title coming in, like Indiana Jones. They got a game like Stalker 2 that I'm going to eventually want to try, etc. I think you are going to grab some of those people. And so you could see a jump in new subscriber numbers. To your point about grabbing them and keeping them, for the people that do jump in, this is why this is why it's been really weird for me to not see them dumping in the back catalog of Activision Blizzard.
Right.
This is really weird to me. This part is really, I haven't brought it up on any of the shows over the past month or so, but I've really been thinking about this because I'm going, what are we doing? I'm not saying you have to drop everything. I'm not saying that you can't space it out. And obviously we've gotten Diablo, right? We're getting Call of Duty. That's great. But honestly, if you want to have a chance at keeping more people, dropping that back catalog, especially the Call of Duty games, the older Call of Duty games, for those fans of Call of Duty who do jump into Game Pass, that's going to keep people around. Then you start, laying out the roadmap. We don't have a roadmap. We don't know anything. We've heard, smoke that maybe Tony Hawk's getting ready to drop. Well, okay. But that's how you tease people, right? And that's how you would keep people on top of all the other stuff you got going on. I still think the Activision Blizzard back catalog is a big one, and especially all the old Call of Duties. For those Call of Duty fans who then see, oh, I get to play the latest Call of Duty, and when I get kind of tired of Black Ops 6, I can go back and kick it with the boys and the girls in, one of the older games again, because we know the servers are up and running. I think that would be a big moment. And that's where I'm scratching my head recently is where are these games? Why haven't we done it? I understand you don't want to take away from the latest, but that's not going to happen anyway for the Call of Duty fans. The Call of Duty fans are going to play the latest Black Ops 6, especially with the hype you got around this game. Dropping the old school Call of Duty games is not going to take any shine off of Black Ops 6. Okay. They're just going to be there waiting for people if they want to jump in and do something different or go back and play campaigns that maybe they missed back in the day. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. But that's the one that's kind of head scratched me. But I think overall, I don't know what the effect's going to be. I can't wait to see what the numbers are going to be. I don't know how anybody writes articles or has an opinion either way that Microsoft and Xbox lose in this scenario. Because if people aren't joining Game Pass, that means that they're going to have about the same amount of people buying Call of Duty. Right. That happens every single year. So that they're taking in all those normal Call of Duty profits. If they do get people to jump into Game Pass, that gives them the opportunity to keep those people. And if they get it's never going to be like if we saw the retention numbers for Game Pass for people who try it, I'm sure it's not great. Okay. That most subscription services aren't like that. But let's say they capture an extra 15% of people to keep them into Game Pass. That's a win for them because ultimately they're going to have those people now making more purchases in the ecosystem and spending time and money in the ecosystem, which is what they set up Game Pass to do. So if that's the case, that's a win-win scenario. The other people that jump out will go back to buying Call of Duty next year or whatever the next one comes out like they normally do. So then the cycle will just continue. Call of Duty isn't going to diminish because of Game Pass. So either way, to me, it's a win. I don't think they really lose here unless they have some really astronomical. We know they probably readjusted all their Game Pass goals, but if they still kept an astronomical number to put Game Pass or to put Call of Duty into Game Pass, then maybe I could see it be disappointing to them if it doesn't work out. But otherwise, I think they look at it and go, hey, if it doesn't work, we gave it a go, but we still get the same amount of sales or close to the same amount of sales. So we're still getting the money. Game Pass jumped up 5%, 2%. Okay, we gained something. Not a big deal. Didn't take anything off of us. Really didn't lose anything at the end of the day. And then excuse me, like Ram was saying, the real money is in the back end stuff anyways. The real money is in the skins. And it feels like that Activision's ramping that up more and more. They become masters at selling these skins. They've become masters at finding new licenses to go after to bring characters into Call of Duty. They've done a beautiful job with that. Like if you hate it, you hate it. I understand it. But that's where the real money is. And that's not going to slow down. And I think this is just going to enhance it because the people who do think that they saved money by not obviously buying it up front, we've always talked about this. They're more than likely to buy a skin pack or two where they wouldn't have had they paid full price for Black Ops. They're going to look at it and be like, hey, I'm playing the game anyways. Let me buy these skins. So I think that they're going to see the back end money come up off of this anyways. So
yeah.
I'll end it there before I really start dying.
another narrative that died too is like the marketing is Xbox was going to kill the marketing for Call of Duty because they just don't know how to market games and stuff. But obviously the Activision marketing machine came along for the ride because it's been absolutely insane. Actually, I haven't seen a game, even a Call of Duty, like marketed like this crazy, with all the ads and campaigns going around all over the place with different things, stuff at sporting events. You have stuff like everywhere. It's just everywhere. It reminds me of kind of like the 360 days, where some of the big launches back then, like Halo 3 and stuff like that. It's just crazy marketing. So their expectations are big for sales and also with how it just does in the Xbox ecosystem for whatever subscribers or sales on there as well. But shout out to Alvin, who just with a $5 super chat says, it just seems obvious in this new multi-publisher Xbox that Game Pass isn't the ecosystem driver anymore. It's one important tentacle on the Xbox Hydra. And that's 100%, man. Once they made the decision that they're putting their games in other places as well, like even games like Indiana Jones and some of these other games, is that's just their strategy now for making more money, and they're more content with Game Pass just being a part of it instead of the main point of growth. And they're doing other things also to grow Game Pass, like doing the cloud gaming, your game library, and all that other kind of stuff that's going to add value to it as well. We got another super chat from Web Dave with $2. Says, the amazing Randolph Thor 19, Pong and Mav, you rock, Dave. Appreciate you being here, bro. And everybody in the chat. Hey, if you've been playing Black Ops 6 already, if you're in New Zealand or if you live in the New Zealand area, let me know in the chat if you what you think about Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I will try and translate your accent and be able to understand it properly. But yeah, everybody, I think this is a huge deal for Xbox and I think for Call of Duty also, because this is just in general, I think this is going to be the biggest Call of Duty launch that we've had in a very long time. And I think it's kind of capturing the old hype that we used to have for Call of Duty back in the day. Talking about the original Modern Warfare 2 on back in the 360 days and stuff like that, you know? It seems like this is kind of pushing Call of Duty forward again, as it's not that it's ever left the mainstream, but it's been kind of up and down with like the conversations a lot lately. But it's just since like this kind of energy where everybody's just really back and kind of excited for it, except for Rand, who's not even going to touch the multiplayer because he doesn't. So it's all right.
Because I'm smart.
You don't want to get enticed to buy a Nicki Minaj skin?
I've never bought a skin in any of these games I've played.
Really? Never?
There's no point.
Did you ever play Fortnite online? Multiplayer?
I played Fortnite online, and I had the default character skin, because what's the point?
Man, so I so I got Ninja Turtles, I got Gambit, I got Captain America, Wolverine. Oh, I got all the cool guys. So like, and I happened to be that my Donatello, you know, it's called a bow, right? But his stick, you know, staff or whatever you want to call it, works great for Gambit because they didn't give Gambit one. But if I put Donatello's on the back of Gambit, it fits. Looks perfect. So you can mix and match and play with them like that too. It's pretty fun. Where else can ever you see like Wolverine dancing with Ariana Grande?
Hey, I mean, you spend your money how you want. I ain't spending my money on a red gun and a skin. Sorry, that's not. I mean, I played 900 hours of PUBG, didn't spend a dime on any of that stuff. I played like 200, 300 hours of Warzone, didn't spend a dime. Thank you for people like you and my friends who do spend that stuff so I can play those games for free. Because they ain't getting my money.
You are the smart one, man. Because the game is just as fun either way. Yeah. But yeah, it's
the opposite of Steel. It's hilarious.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Like if anybody is a thing with these kind of games. That's why I always kind of embrace the free to play thing with some of these games. With like, it's still a really good quality, fun game, and it's completely optional. You know, if you want to put money into it. Like I enjoy Warzone as well, right? And that's if you don't buy Call of Duty, guess what? You can always hop into Warzone and play that, and they even have some other modes in there too that are kind of more traditional now. So But yeah, it's big time for gaming, big time for Call of Duty, big time for Xbox. But I don't think it's do or die. I've literally heard upon a podcast that if if this doesn't do what Xbox wants, then Xbox will be out of business by next year.
Out of business? Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back to that again. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah. This is Xbox. Well, they said Xbox is dead. What does Xbox will die mean? What does that mean? You
saw Satya's quotes today, right?
Yeah.
They've got $21 billion franchises now. Right. I don't think that gaming's going anywhere when you got $21 billion franchises underneath your belt. I think you might be okay.
But nobody plays Xbox games, Pong. What are you talking about?
Yeah, of course not. Nobody.
No. But they just don't realize it, I think.
Yeah, they don't realize that they're Xbox games now.
Right. It's always interesting narratives going on around here. But the other thing, let's see, I wanted to talk about the FTC. Did you see this, Rand? The FTC has some new rules in place for gaming sites, or not gaming sites, for websites and review sites, review bombs and fake reviews and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah, I saw what the FTC said. Yeah, I mean, they really should. Fake reviews. I mean, that's something that, people buying subs or followers. Yeah, why not?
Or bots for their YouTube channels.
Or that, yeah.
So I'm curious, like, how this plays into gaming a little bit, and I don't know, like, what the rules are for advertising and bullying, because it had some language in there when it came to like bullying a little bit when it comes to like pushing for your games to get reviewed positively for certain websites and stuff like that we've seen in the past it's actually been revealed, and it's happened in the past with Microsoft too. There was, I forget what the name of the website was, but they did like YouTube videos and all this other kind of stuff, but they had a big controversy because they had came out that they had actually been like requested to leave very adamantly and for whatever way a positive review for the game or something like that. But like overall, like, does this affect the advertising with big publications, right? And what they are being kind of influenced to do, if that's the best way to put it. And obviously, I'm talking about IGN. Well, okay, so you have a lot of marketing dollars and advertising dollars, right?
Okay.
Going into companies like IGN, where you have obviously you want to be beholden to your partners in some form or fashion.
Is Xbox partners with IGN?
Yes, probably, but not as much I would consider as PlayStation.
I don't really think they would consider themselves partners with IGN.
So when it comes to IGN, you have them now earlier this year acquiring multiple other news outlets, gaming outlets, and stuff like that, right? And a lot of marketing dollars comes from PlayStation as well. Does that? I wonder if any of this new FTC rulings kind of can have any effect on any of that kind of stuff with some of the new rules in place. As far as influence to consumers, I was really thinking about it when I was reading through the rules. I have some of them here.
Well, which rule do you think specifically would target IGN then?
So this one, let's see here. Let me bring it up. I sent to Pong this feed. Here we go. Okay, so the final rule prohibits businesses from providing compensation or other incentives conditioned on the writing of consumer reviews expressing a particular sentiment, either positive or negative. It clarifies the conditional nature of the offer of compensation or incentive may be expressly or implicitly conveyed. So that's one where you could say, yeah, they're not technically buying a review, but what does their advertising dollars mean to IGN and ZeniMax? Not ZeniMax. What's the Ziff Davis? The other Z word. How does that influence, right? How does the marketing dollars, the amount of money that gets put into a company like that is now owns several different games media sites that seemingly, we've always been talking about biases and stuff like that, and obviously everybody at those companies are going to deny it, and that's fine, but it's become kind of clear at different times with certain mindsets take hold, and it can even be the people they hire or whatever, but there's certain languages in this. So I could read all of them. So you got fake or false consumer reviews, consumer testimonials, and celebrity testimonials. I don't think necessarily anything really goes into that. But you have the buying positive reviews, which one I said. You have the insider reviews, which final rule prohibits certain reviews and testimonials written by company insiders that fail to clearly and conspicuously disclose the giver's material connection to the business. It prohibits such reviews and testimonials given by officers or managers. It also prohibits a business from disseminating such a testimonial that the business should have known was by an officer, manager, employer, or agent. Finally, it imposes requirements when officers or managers solicit consumer reviews from their own immediate relatives or, that goes into relatives and family and stuff like that. Company-controlled review websites. The final rule prohibits a business from misrepresenting that a website or entity it controls provides independent reviews or opinions about a category of products or services that include its own products or services. You have review suppression. The final rule prohibits a business from using unfounded or groundless legal threats, physical threats, intimidation, or certain false public accusations to prevent or remove a negative consumer review. That one I think could strongly also fit in there, especially with some of the stuff we've seen in the past regarding there's been stuff that's leaked about, hey, we don't like the way this game was reviewed by your blah blah blah, using kind of bullying tactics or intimidation tactics on being able to receive future copies of games and all this other kind of stuff as well. The final rule also bars a business from misrepresenting that the reviews on a review portion of its website represent all or most of the reviews submitted when reviews have been suppressed based upon their ratings or negative sentiment. And the misuse of fake social media indicators. That one's interesting because that one kind of goes more into our territory on YouTube as well. But it says the final rule prohibits anyone from selling or buying fake indicators of social media influence, such as followers or views generated by a bot or hijacked account. This prohibition is limited to situations in which the buyer knew or should have known that the indicators were fake and misrepresents the buyer's influence or importance for a commercial purpose. But I would say the review suppression with the kind of bullying tactics, and then also the fact that they have to conspicuously disclose the giver's material connection to the business. And then the final rule prohibits businesses for providing compensation or other incentives conditioned on the writing of consumer reviews expressing a particular sentiment, either positive or negative. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I don't know. Is there any pressure under the new rules for these gaming sites and to kind of be a little bit more careful with this, you think? Or no? Am I looking too much into it?
I'm sure they have their lawyers and everybody looking at that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, you're asking the wrong person here. I think you need to ask
Mr. Punk.
Ask a lawyer or whatever.
This would be a question for Hogue Law, maybe.
So
yeah, I don't know. I was looking at it and I'm thinking about everything about like how much media that IGN owns.
Is this because you don't like IGN?
Well, I actually used to love IGN, but over time, it just became more and more clear and more glaring. It like situation after situation after situation. But what bothered me most about them is when somebody would just correct them on something on social media, not even in a rude way, but then you would have several of them go after and just like call them conspiracy theorists and all this other kind of stuff. But they obviously use a lot of clickbait, which is pretty normal for sites these days, with their headlines. And then they do have shock value, I think, review scores at times to generate traffic. They've kind of gone the way that Kotaku, when they started going downhill, like I noticed IGN like following certain paths with all the it's all clickbait. It's all clickbait shit now. Everything's opinions now. Nothing is ever about actual journalism anymore or anything like that with them. Jez is actually one of the ones that actually does more journalist activities with his job, like actually doing research and asking questions and trying to find answers to things. But he himself has said he just considers himself a blogger, not a journalist. But he's out journalisming, if whatever you want to call it, like all of these different big ass gaming sites that have millions and millions and millions of dollars at their disposal to do their jobs properly. So that's what bugs me about the biggest gaming outlet, IGN. So this is why I want to put it out there. And a lot of that money comes from PlayStation. It does. Pong, am I looking too much into this, or?
Well, I mean, you never are whenever the government's put regulations in place. You're never looking too much into it because they can do whatever they want to once the regulations in place. Is why I hate regulations. It is. I mean, it's relevant because early 2000s, Sony was sued for faking their own movie reviews, right? So Sony's been involved in this shit before. Of course, that was a long ass time ago, of course, but still, it's been done. But I do think this gives the government power, especially when they. What was that part, real quick? Hold on, let me look at that part again. Let me bring it back. Where is it? There it is. The buying of positive and negative reviews. The final rule prohibits businesses from providing compensation or other incentives conditioned on the writing of consumer reviews expressing a particular sentiment, either positive or negative. It clarifies that the conditional nature of the offer of compensation or incentive may be expressly or implicitly conveyed. That opens up a whole can of worms whenever they start writing that kind of language in there, because if the government decides that anybody is doing something like that, that gives them a lot of freedom to go after people. And we've heard multiple people within the industry over the years that say behind the scenes Sony has put on pressure for good reviews, right? Had conversations with people that has been highly suggestive that if a good review isn't given, that they'll be blacklisted from future reviews, right? There's many such stories out there. And again, it's not probably just Sony, but I'm just bringing up Sony because PlayStation is one of the biggest brands in the industry, and because Sony's had a history, again, of this kind of stuff before. So if the government were to decide to go in, they would pull emails from people. They would pull communications from people. And so people are going to have to be more careful. If a company is even in the gray area on this, they are going to have to be very careful. And companies like IGN are going to have to be aware of this, because they will be brought in if anything ever does come up. If a suit comes up, if government decides to go after somebody, they're going to be brought into it. So they do have to be careful. So could this make people more cautious? Absolutely. Could this make celebrity endorsements or people who are given free things like YouTubers for reviews, make them tighten up how they make sure their audience is aware that they were given a copy of the game? I know many do that, obviously. ACG, I'll just use ACG because I listen to his reviews all the time. He says that every time. He gives away his copy. He actually buys a copy to review. He gives away his free copy, but he tells everybody that he got a free copy. But are people going to be much more conscious of that kind of stuff now, because they certainly don't want to be dragged in down the road if something were big to happen with a company? Yeah, I think this has got to get people's attention, that the government went out of their way to tighten up these regulations. Again, do I think this time could have been spent better elsewhere?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Whatever. This is nothing new. It's bigger now because of social media, because they can do different things to manipulate data, all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, they've done it. So now people got to take notice. And I think it's not just the big companies, but it's the small participants in the reviewers and that kind of stuff as well that are going to have to make sure they're on the up and up so that they don't do something stupid that gets them in trouble down the road. Even if they don't hear about it for years, but all of a sudden there's a massive lawsuit against one of these big companies and they pull everybody back in through, 3-5 years of reviews, and they start pulling emails and they start pulling communications and all that you don't want to be a part of that no matter what, even if you were innocent in the whole thing. So I think that this is going to make people take notice. So I don't think you're off here. I think anytime something like this comes down, it's going to make a difference.
I don't think all of a sudden, like, the FBI is going to show up at Ziff Davis's doors and be like, everybody, Ryan McCaffrey, get in the truck. I don't think that's happening, right? Like,
but I will say because IGN has now created a monopoly in the media side, Math, they are going to be, I would not doubt there are a couple people already within the FTC that are partly dedicated to this.
But if it affects reviews
with
right?
IGN,
like this a lot of this is just based on reviews. So you got to look at what's the most popular review platforms out there, right? So overall, if you're looking at gaming as a big category, the more money spent on gaming than other entertainment mediums in the US, right? Then you would look at, okay, well, what's the most weighted reviews? Right. And then if you're like, oh, wait, so like this company also owns this company and this company and this company and this company that are all listed on this. Right. Well, that has
some of their biggest some of their biggest
influence.
Advertising partners are PlayStation. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. Right.
That's like,
is that affecting the reviews?
Yeah. It's like, hey, we're Mr. Auto Reviewer. Right. And our biggest sponsors, our biggest advertiser is Ford, and we give Ford's better scores every single year, right? Like, and it's just interesting to see, like, if there is, I'm not saying that PlayStation is deserving of high scores on their games, I think they are, but like, it's interesting seeing this come down. And I was just wrapping my head around, like, how does this affect gaming reviews? Because this whole new ruling is based around fake consumer reviews. Yeah, obviously it has to do with local businesses. It has to do with big business as well, with all different kinds of products. And there's a lot of fake reviews online, like on
Amazon reviews.
Yeah, exactly. Like people buying reviews and all that kind of stuff. You can even go into other realms about, like, okay, well, how much influence does like a certain YouTube channel have, and how much fake influence did they purchase? Right. So there's
there's been accusations too on trailers, right? For games, that some of the game companies have bought bots to give them thumbs up, right? On the trailers, which would go underneath that last one, misuse of fake social media indicators, right? The final rule prohibits anyone from selling or buying fake indicators of social media influence. Well, those likes on a YouTube, a YouTube video, like especially of a trailer of a game, we know how those are paid attention to. If somebody finds out that somebody was buying bots to give likes, that would count towards that, right? That would be bad news.
The funny thing would be is, like, FTC is like, because they've been so focused on it, Microsoft is like, if that's where they're going to go first, though, they could do that too and be like, really, we need to look at how Xbox is influencing reviews now that they're on Call of Duty Black Ops 6, right? And try and find something there. It would just be their style, But we'll see what kind of effect it has. I don't know in the grand scheme of things, but it's just interesting to think about when you talk about influence and different companies. There was people that have left big gaming sites because of these kind of things in the past, right? That have started their own other publications and stuff like that because they felt pressured to leave a positive review on certain kinds of games, or a negative, or not feel like they can give their own peace of mind on other games that they actually do enjoy. So, like, overall, I think this thing, even though it's small potatoes as far as a lot of the issues, like you said, Pong, that the FTC could focus on, it is still something that's important for consumers, I think. So having some rules in place is really not necessarily a bad thing, right? So we'll see if they're followed though, because it's a hard thing to prove. It's all subjective, right? 100%. Anyway, also, we have Halloween coming around the corner. Are you a horror game fan?
Yeah,
Brand?
I like me some horror games. You know, like I said, I just played Silent Hill 2. Although I guess that's more psychological horror than
Yeah.
horror stuff. But yeah, I do enjoy me a good horror game.
Just because Halloween's coming around the corner, I want to know what your favorite horror games are of all time.
Horror games are of all time, huh?
Give me a top 3.
Individual games or franchises?
Because
that's difficult.
It could be franchises. Yeah, it can be.
Because I could say Resident Evil, Silent Hill, and you know what? I'll just say Outlast.
Outlast?
Yeah.
So Resident Evil 1, Silent Hill 2.
Well, not Resident Evil 1 or Silent Hill 2, but
no,
like
I mean,
Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3. You know, the Resident Evil games.
So Resident Evil's your favorite?
Probably, yeah. I mean, if you know, like from 1 to 2 to 4 to 7 to 8 to they probably have the most. I mean, I love Dead Space as well, but there's like 2 of those. So yeah, I would say Resident Evil is probably my favorite.
Silent Hill 2 remake? Did you finish it?
Yes. Who you talking to, Mav? Who are you talking to?
How was it though? Like it
was great.
So
absolutely amazing.
And did it? Because I don't remember honestly. Like if I played the original Silent Hill 2, it would have been over like a Blockbuster rental.
Sure, yeah. I mean, last time I played Silent Hill 2 was in 2001 or 2002 when it came out.
So, in comparison on remakes, because like I've really applauded Resident Evil for their remakes, like how they do the remakes is like a brand new fucking game, you know. And Silent Hill 2, where do you see it? Like, is it like that more so,
yes.
or is it so brand new?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say. I mean, it's not brand new because even the Resident Evil remakes aren't brand new.
Well, they follow the same kind of path, right, and the same story.
It is there. There are some things in Silent Hill 2 that they extend. It is a longer game than the original because there's more things in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you remember the first game, you know, it follows along the path, pretty
close, yeah.
Pretty close. I mean, there's changed dialogue and stuff, but then there's dialogue that's copied exactly. It's in that vein of those Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 3 remake, right? Where it's like really faithful enough, but then extended to give you more. So yeah, if you're a fan of Silent Hills, you need to play it.
Yeah, Jasper, shout out to Jasper in the chat. He said he thought you were going to say Alan Wake for one of your favorites.
I mean, you only gave me 3 options though.
Yeah, I was trying to limit it. I was a little surprised.
Alan Wake is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't think of Alan Wake as really horror, but I guess it is.
What would you, if it's not horror though, what would you consider it?
Well, I probably would have slotted in number 3 and just replaced Outlast. I said Outlast just to say something that, you know, a lot of people wouldn't necessarily think of.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah, Alan Wake is, yeah, it's one of my favorites for sure.
Right on.
Have you played Outlast 1 or 2?
I played the first one.
Yeah.
And there's a certain kind of horror game that I can't play.
Which is?
When some creepy ass motherfucker's following you around and you don't know where he is the whole time, but it's like the same person, you know, and it's like they keep randomly jumping around corners sometimes, or like then you'll hear them coming and you have to like race to a certain place before they get you, and like those kinds, like Resident Evil 7, the first part of it, was a lot
In the
like this
house?
too. In the house, yeah.
Yeah,
That
the
was
house is great.
that was a lot like that too. I fucking can't. I can't handle it, man. The original game first game that I played like that was Clock Tower. Way back on the PlayStation, and it was like a side-scrolling game, but it still had the same concept. Like this guy's chasing you with freaking scissors the whole time, and you hide, and then sometimes he finds you, sometimes he doesn't, and you're trying to get out of this place and stuff. Like those kind of games, I just can't do. So that's what Outlast is. It's an amazing game. The first one was, at least, but it's too much for me. I can't do it. So, I like more, I guess you could say, of the like Resident Evil style. You know, the classic Resident Evils, where you go, maybe you don't know what's in a room or whatever. You go in there, and then you like, oh, there's some zombies over there. There's this over there. Or maybe you have something chase you once, and for one scene in the game or whatever, or like dogs jumping through the windows and shit like that. But one motherfucker constantly chasing you around a place.
So
and you're
then
trying
I
to
take
figure
it
your way
you
out.
didn't like Resident Evil 3 then?
Not as much. No, I didn't.
With Mr. X chasing you around
No,
the whole time?
No, I didn't like that one as much. Resident Evil 1 and 2 were fantastic. Resident Evil 3, I was like, eh. But I liked 4 a lot. I liked 5. 6 was trash. 6 wasn't even worth anything to me. 7, I only reason I was able to get past the part in 7 is because I finally streamed it, and I was so distracted by the chat and them telling me what to do and stuff. Like I wasn't as immersed, you know. But yeah, Village was great. I love Village, but it did have some of that, but it wasn't too much. It wasn't too much. Anyway, it's just me though. Pong, you're not a horror fan at all, so
I could go old school. I mean, I did play them, play them back in the day when there was before graphics got where they are, and because they do what they do now. No way. But obviously, I can do old school Resident Evil. Loved them. Played a lot of them for a lot of years, obviously, and so I can go that and Dead Space again back in the day for sure. Started playing the new one, the remake, and I think I could probably do it. Again, you give me enough big guns and enough ammo, I'm okay.
mhm.
Most of the time, but I won't touch Silent Hill, the remake, even though I played Silent Hill back in the day. I won't touch this one. And Rad, you're crazy if you say this is only psychological, bro. I've seen the videos of
No, I
people playing
mean,
Silent Hill. It's
sure.
straight up jump scare horror, bro.
Sure, there are jump scares, but I'm talking about the themes of the game
sure.
and what James goes through and all that stuff. It is a
Yeah.
like there's none of that psychological horror within Resident Evil, right? It's all external. It's all, hey, I got a zombie coming at me, about to eat my face. Let me kill it.
It's just usually the way I describe it.
Are
is like,
monsters in Silent Hill 2, but the dread and stuff is
no, I get that.
psychological.
I get that. More when I describe psychological horror, like the medium, like I can play the medium, right? That's psychological to me, right? You know what I'm saying? But Dead Space, Resident Evil, the old Resident Evils, up through 4, and then it'd probably be a tie between Fear and Parasite Eve. So Fear and Parasite Eve, and I know some people would dismiss Parasite Eve, but it's technically a horror. Again, it's during the PS1 generation, PS2 generation, so it's not like, okay, the graphics weren't the greatest, but I love the RPG aspect, of course, of Parasite Eve, which was something different, which I think they need to do a remake. I'd love to see Parasite Eve do a remake, but Fear, I love Fear. I love
Fear. Man, I wish it would come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not be able to play it nowadays. I can almost guarantee if they did a new one, like I've gone back and played the other ones on backwards compatibility, and that little girl following you around, bro, I'd like, if they did this now and updated her, oh my god, I'd be so freaked out, man.
Let me ask you this. What does Fear stand for? Do you remember?
Oh my god. Yeah, I do. What the hell is it? I'm not gonna get it without looking.
Isn't
that
the name of the team?
Yes.
Yeah. Field Energy Assault Recon. I don't know.
Fear Energy Assault Recon.
First Encounter Assault Recon.
First Encounter Assault Recon. That's close.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to look.
I said, what did I say? Force or first is what I said. First Energy Assault Recon. I don't know. First Encounter.
Mm-hmm.
No, those are some good games. You remember the Condemned games back in the 360?
Yeah.
No.
You couldn't do
Done.
those. Those
Done.
weren't even that
No.
scary, man.
Done. No.
There's like
Yes, they were.
mainly like homeless people like on crack trying to kill you.
Listen. To explain how bad it is for me, and again, it's gotten worse as I've gotten older and as the games got more realistic, right? But Condemned I couldn't do because of it was so oppressive, like just the feeling of it. But I tell this story to give you guys an idea that it's this bad. Again, I bought Alien Isolation because I'm a huge Alien fan.
Yes.
I bought Alien I'm not joking. I bought the big package when it went on sale, like way back, right? During Xbox One. And I picked that sucker up. Rand, I made it 15 minutes, bro. I'm talking about the intro before the aliens introduce, when you're just sitting in the hangar and you're kind of exploring around, like the sounds in the background. I was done. I uninstalled it and have never reinstalled it again.
Yeah, you might have fainted when the first time you see the alien and it starts stalking you.
Yeah, no, I would have died. Outlast, I tried Outlast. I had to turn the sound all the way off and I had to play it during the daytime. And I made it through like 10 minutes of that, 15 minutes of that, maybe downstairs. Oh my God. I could not do it, man. I could not.
What about the like the supermassive games like Man of Medan or Little Hope or Until Dawn that are kind of horror-ish, but they're more like Telltale like
I started
games?
playing Until Dawn. I was okay with it, right? Because I can watch movies. I could do horror movies as long as they're not over the top. I can't do like Saw. I don't go for the massive gore. Like that's not my thing. I can watch them. So I was okay playing Until Dawn. Did I play any of the other ones? I can't remember. Until Dawn's the only one I remembered. I played for about an hour or so of that. I was okay. There's a couple parts where I was like flinching, knowing something was coming or expecting something to come, like a movie. But yeah, I think I'm okay there. It's more for me, it is more just I'm being in control that it really bothers me. Like it is much more immersive to me for some reason than movies ever will be. I don't know what it is, man. It's gotten worse as I've gotten older and as the games have gotten more realistic. I just can't do it, bro.
Yeah. With the games being more real, it's crazy. There's a lot of great horror games now. Phasmophobia is coming to Xbox. It's a really popular game. And seeing like clips of that, like being in like that potentially like real haunted house and investigating and shit, like it's just that kind of stuff is trippy, man. There was my favorite, I guess, first would be Resident Evil, but there's definitely ones that I just didn't like, right? But overall, I would say the first two games, especially, and then I really liked 4 and 5 and 8. So out of those, I think just overall, just because of the amount of games, right? If we're looking at franchises, I would put that. But even if I had to pick my favorite horror game of all time, it would be the first Resident Evil. I just have the most memories of playing that over and over again and just loving that game. Then I would look at actually Fear. I'm sad that you took that one from me because that game was just a great game in general. Also, it's a great shooter. Like
it still holds up if you go play it backwards.
The
shooting,
the slow motion, the physics and stuff. The environment looks great. The lighting, like so much detail. Like especially in Fear 2, which I think is the best. When you're in the school and you're like, I know I don't like being in schools and JRPGs and stuff, but like Persona drives me crazy with that. But like in Fear 2, like you're walking around that school and stuff, it's like, oh my God, it's just crazy. But the other thing that made Fear 2 really special, and maybe the other Fears also, but is you would like, there was this one time when I was playing Fear and I literally screamed, right? And I have never done this with another game before. But I literally screamed. Now, nobody's watching me play. I wasn't streaming. This is way back in the day, right? It's like I was just sitting there playing a game. Kate was chilling, probably watching something in the other room, whatever. I don't remember. I was sitting there playing. No, actually, she was watching me play. I was sitting there playing, and I just looking around. You know, I was about to walk into the entrance to the school, right? Looking around. Okay, cool. I was looking to see if there's anything to pick up, right? I just looked there. I literally just looked there. Just not the game doesn't know where I'm gonna look. How could the game know where I'm gonna look? I had just looked there. There's nothing there. Then I look, turn around, and then like I turned back around to like turn the corner, and literally Alma is right there where I had just looked a second ago. And it just freaked me out because I had never experienced that in a game before, and I was wondering like, how the fuck did that happen? How is that even possible for them to do that in a game? To like, I was just randomly looking around, and all of a sudden, bam, there she is, and it literally made me scream. Only time a game has ever actually done that before, genuinely. So I would say fear, but also just because of the quality of the game it is. And I want to include another franchise and another game, but I don't know if it qualifies as horror. So maybe you can tell me. The Darkness. Did you play The Darkness on 360? Is it, Chad?
Yes.
Is it horror enough? I mean, it has like you're kind of taken over by like a demon creature thing, right? And you're going around and
I don't know if I class it. Yeah, but it's like you are the monster though.
Right.
I'm not necessarily sure. I mean, because at the end of the day, that game's like a shooter.
Yeah.
And you'd have like the yeah, I don't know if I consider that horror. What about something like Little Nightmares or Little Nightmares 2? Is that horror? Or Inside?
I mean, Inside I think is, I don't know if I'd consider it horror or not. Little Nightmares I didn't play them. So I can't say.
Okay.
But based on the name, I would say yes. Man, I'm really having trouble with my third game franchise because I usually stay away from horror. I still haven't touched Dead Space. Well, I touched it. I started it like several times, but it just didn't grab me, so I stopped playing it.
What?
I know.
How did Dead Space not grab you? I don't get it.
I was just like, I'm bored.
How?
Yeah.
You're bored of Resident Evil in space?
Resident Evil 6, I was bored on that one, but that was.
Well, I understand. Right? Resident Evil 6 is a bad game, but Dead Space. Some people say, and I wouldn't necessarily argue against it, but some people say Dead Space is the best Resident Evil game ever made.
Well, that's I think maybe I don't know what it is, man, because I haven't gone back.
How far did you get? Let's figure this out. How far did you get in Dead Space?
Probably like an hour.
An hour.
Probably like an hour. Yeah. I mean, I was killing things with my gun and chopping off or shooting the limbs and, rotating the gun and stuff and walking.
Are you playing on like super scaredy cat difficulty?
No, it wasn't hard or scary.
Interesting.
To me.
How did the characters not? The story should have grabbed you. Like Isaac, like the whole story, like that was great. Like that whole intro.
I think the movement speed, like how slow I was having to move throughout it and stuff, without it being scary or anything, I was just kind of like, okay, I don't know. That's the way I felt each time I played it. Now the other games have there's certain franchises that like Dead Space that I have ended up loving, right? Where I just couldn't get into it for whatever reason. And then later at some other point in time, I went and played it and I was like, oh, I just couldn't stop. I was just like enamored, right? Bioshock. After I bought the first Bioshock, because everybody was raving about this is the greatest game of all time and all that kind of stuff, right? I was like, I thought the gunplay sucked. I thought like the whole like giant reticle thing was stupid. I thought the movement was slow. I was like, I don't get this. I just didn't get it. But Bioshock 2 came out and it had a hype. It's like, maybe I'll like this one. I played through and like for some reason I was just like enamored and loved fucking Bioshock 2. Then I went back and played Bioshock 1. I was like, this is a fucking masterpiece. You know, like I don't know. Sometimes it happens in weird ways. Dead Space, I always had this hope that would happen with me. That I would just like go back and play it and like fall in love with it because it's loved by so many people. And maybe it still can. But I think part of the problem is I'm just not super into horror games because certain ones I'm like not scared enough. And then other ones I'm too scared. And then like maybe it's like I was looking for something more fast paced or something at the time. You know, like I think you got to be immersed in the environment and the feeling to really enjoy some of those games, right? That was the same problem I had with the first Bioshock. I just wasn't immersed in the environment at all. I just didn't get it. I was like, okay, like I'm not really into this. But eventually, eventually it grabbed me, man.
With Bioshock 2, the one that most people consider to be their least favorite, or the red-haired stepchild of the three.
I was more excited for it because it had multiplayer. So,
there we go.
When they announced that it was gonna have, I'm for real. When they announced that Bioshock 2 was gonna have multiplayer, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'll actually like this one. You know, like
back when developers were putting multiplayer modes in any of their games, because why not?
Yeah. So you know, like the Riddick sequel, they put multiplayer in that one too. You remember that? It sucked ass, but I was excited that it had multiplayer.
So did Bioshock's multiplayer.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, but I was excited that it had it. So that's what got me to play Bioshock 2, but I loved the story. I didn't love the multiplayer, but that made me go back and play Bioshock 1.
Well, I will say Bioshock 2 played better because you had both access to your guns and your plasmids at the same time. Where in Bioshock 1, I don't know if you guys remember it, but you had to switch between your guns and your plasmids. Like, if you had your plasmid out for lightning, you could only use that. You would have to switch to your gun.
Right.
They changed that for 2 and for Infinite, where you could use both at the same time. Mm-hmm. So, like, Bioshock 2 plays better because you can use both of those. But what really gripped people with Bioshock 1 was the atmosphere, the setting, the story, the twist.
Oh yeah, I love the twist at the end. It was kind of spoiled for me with 2, obviously, right? But,
the gameplay was sort of like, yeah, this is cool, but it wasn't like great. And then 2 came out, and the story was kind of like, but the gameplay was like, oh man, I got the gun and the plasmids, and yeah. I mean, I haven't played the Bioshock games since like Bioshock Infinite came out, so it's been a while. And I do own the remastered set, and maybe one day I'll replay them.
What genre would you wouldn't consider Bioshock? It's really kind of just atmospheric. It's not horror. I mean, it's got horror elements to it.
I mean, there are some horror elements with like the Big Daddy stalking around, but I wouldn't consider it a horror game. No.
Yeah. No. Did you like Infinite? Bioshock Infinite?
Yeah, I loved Infinite.
Yeah, the church.
But apparently that's the wrong opinion these days. Infinite's everybody's like Infinite's trash if you ever talk about it or whatever. But
no,
at the time I loved it.
When you walk into it's like a church or something at the beginning, and they have like the little bit of water on the ground of it, the whole thing, and it's like the reflection, and you have this like the music going and stuff, and like clouds outside. Like it was a freaking beautiful game, man. I love Bioshock Infinite. If I had to rate them, I guess I would say, actually, like after playing back 1, Bioshock 1 was the best, and I would say maybe Infinite then 2. But it took 2 to get me into 1 in a weird way. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm strange like that. Sometimes it's just like what grabs
Bioshock 1's the closest thing to a perfect 10 game that we've gotten. I think there's only
that's why I wanted to get into it. Everybody was telling me
there's like a handful of games that people can honestly say that about. Like, even though some of us, again, a 10 out of 10 is not a perfect game to a lot of people. But I think Bioshock's the closest. For me personally, it's my closest game that I've ever had to a perfect game.
Yeah,
1000%.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of agree. I agree with Pong. It's more because like the experience I had was just
it just grabbed
incredible.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's like part of it. I've told the story before, so you guys might know it or Pong might know it. But I got the game early,
Mm.
because Kmart was accidentally sold them early, and I paid one of my friends money to ship it to me, and no reviews were out yet, and people weren't sure how that game was going to be, and I'm sitting there playing this thing, and my mind is just blown from how the game is and everything. And that's like an experience that I can never recapture. Like even if I play it again, it's that truly one of those.
Yeah.
If you could wipe your memory of a game and replay it, that would be the one I would pick. Because that experience, I don't know if it's ever been repeated or topped again for me. Like I sat there and just like awe when I finished it, and then I wasn't surprised when the reviews came out and it was like this. What is it, a 94 on Metacritic or 92 or whatever it is? And people were. I was like, yeah, I wish I could have that again.
Yeah. There's some of those games for me too. Is like you wish you could go back and play for the first time. Yeah.
It's a 96 on Metacritic.
Okay, 96. Back when they used to give out 90s like candy.
Yeah.
Like candy.
Everything was a 90 back then.
Man.
Every
Yeah, 'cause
Call
that-
of
well,
Duty,
because
every
we were
Halo,
getting-
every Gears, every, like...
Some of it's justified if you think back though, Rand, because to your point, we were getting so many different experiences that we hadn't had up to that point
Yeah.
with video games. Like so many things were changing and there were so many more stories being told and it from perspectives that we hadn't had before. And the creative side of video games was absolutely blossoming everywhere because of the tech and how it moved forward. We had such a generational leap that it really allowed these guys and gals to really put something together that was completely different from anything that we had seen before. So I can understand why the reviewers were enamored back then with a lot of the games because it was like, like you said, there are certainly those that stood out during that time frame, like Bioshock, that just you'll never forget. But my God, there was just I go back and look at I talk about this all the time, the double A side and even the forgotten triple A side of games. There are so many great games that people have never even touched, like Singularity. I think Singularity is a freaking fantastic game. That's why I'm hoping it comes to backwards compatibility. But a lot of people would never have played that back in the day because we had so much. Just a special time back then, for sure.
I agree. So that's why 360 gen is my favorite generation.
It kicked off a lot of the franchises that we're still playing today. Like,
Well, I would even hazard to say that we've been repeating the 360 gen this entire time. Like the Xbox One, PS4, Series X, PS5 is just really a small tweaking of the 360 generation. Really, the type of games that people made. Right? It's still same type of games, but with bigger budgets and the multiplayer focus, which remember, that's when multiplayer started hitting big. Call of Duty, Halo, all that stuff.
Years.
And now you just have what dominates the industry right now? Multiplayer live service games.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of just been like, oh, this is just the 360 PS3 generation remastered again. They found their groove and they found their money and they just kind of repeat it. But now everything's gotten too expensive and everything's taking way too long. And, that's why you see a lot of the problems you have, right?
Yeah.
Can't turn around a game anymore in 2 years. Now it takes 5. And it's not $10 million to make. Now it's $200 million. So one miss might sink your company where before you might be able to weather a couple of those.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
I think there's too much waste. Again, like in the back end, like behind the scenes, the games that don't ever get released, in like the years they spend working on these things and tinkering and focus groups and market research and all these things, and it's like just hey, we canceled this thing behind this. It's stuff we never heard about, and it's like how much time and money do these big publishers just constantly waste on shit that we never see? I understand it's like part of the process, but like they need to cut down on some of that shit, in my opinion. Like go for the easy wins, the easy home runs, like they avoid so many times, and for always chasing something, and they're always tinkering behind the scenes trying to figure out like how do we make this next big thing, and then you have like 10 different groups working on pitches and prototypes, and okay, let's pick which one now. Okay, we're gonna do that. Then they spend 2 years of getting consumer feedback on it, on insider test and all these other kind of things, and then hey, it turns out it sucks ass and it gets canceled. You know, it's just, I just don't think that's the right way to make games. But that's a lot of these publishers. That's what they do, and sometimes that's why we don't see games for a long ass time. You know, it's like once they actually say, "Hey, this game is in development," sometimes it can go a little bit quicker. It seems like when they get their actually when they seem like they know what the hell they're doing. But it's too much. Even when they do announce a game, how many times do we hear about it's changed behind the scenes like 3 different times before? Look at Skull and Bones. Like a perfect example. Hey, how many iterations of that did it finally go through before we got the thing that we got at the end? Anyway, that's Ubisoft for you, though.
Did you hear that Beyond Good and Evil hit a milestone today internally, supposedly, or this week?
Oh,
Still
yeah?
alive. Yeah, supposedly it hit
Wow.
an internal milestone, and they're all really excited about it.
Ooh. Maybe we'll all play it one day.
We'll get it before this generation's over with.
Did they
I
get a
doubt
new
it,
piece of concept art?
Maybe that's
You know, I will say I'll plug this because we had Tom Henderson on Xbox 2+1 yesterday, and we were talking about Ubisoft. Pong, you'll find this interesting because he said Splinter Cell remake's still trucking along, and he says like targeted release date's kind of around 2026. He said it was announced too early, partially because of him, because he revealed it, and then they were forced to announce it, and it was one of those things where they announced it like right at the beginning, and it still had years to go. So we're getting our Splinter Cell, at least.
Freaking blog post.
Matt and I did a 2-hour show on that night.
So I mean, got our fingers crossed. We'll get our Splinter Cell.
Hey, yeah, we'll beat 2 of the biggest fans right here. Me and Matt were all ready, so I can't. Wait.
But then fuck Ubisoft because Prince of Persia.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised. I think there's some major changes coming to Ubisoft soon.
Yes.
I think there's going to be a massive layoffs, restructuring.
They have to.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We've talked about that a lot, man. Like it's definitely gonna change. We just don't know exactly what's gonna happen. But
did you? I don't know if you guys saw this, but Ubisoft has 19,000 employees, right?
Yeah.
And they make $2.5 billion in revenue. EA has 13,000 employees, so 6,000 less, but they make $7.5 billion. So they have 3,000 less or 6,000 less employees, but make $5 billion more. That's where like Ubisoft's really screwed because they have such a high employee count, but their revenues don't match what these other companies are doing. And so like when a project doesn't, like when Star Wars Outlaws doesn't do well, it puts pressure on other games to pick up the slack. And Ubisoft really hasn't had many success stories recently. And I mean, who knows how Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to perform when that comes out. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it's a great game. But it's just disappointing to see Prince of Persia Lost Crown, which is right now, I think, my game of the year, although it's kind of vying with Silent Hill 2, to be like, not only to then find out, hey, by the way, like we disbanded the whole team and we're not going to greenlight a sequel.
Did you see their actual post today where they had the little?
I did, but I didn't read it.
Yeah, it said they're all moved on to different projects.
Yeah, they said like some people are on Ghost Recon now, some people are on a Rayman game or Rayman remake, and some are on
what Ghost Recon
something else.
Are they on?
The next Ghost Recon, because it's been what Breakpoint was 2018, 2019, right? When was Breakpoint?
It's been a while. You know, they had a disastrous launch, then they released the 2.0 kind of version of it that updated a lot of stuff, and it's a great game. But
I played
2019.
Yes, I mean, yeah, it's been a while. You would think a new Ghost, but I think because of the reception that game got, which was awful, maybe they put it on the back burner, and then COVID hit for a couple years and stuff. So, Tom did say that Ubisoft is planning on releasing 10 Assassin's Creed games in the next 5 years.
They're going to burn that franchise in the ground, too. I mean, I'm looking forward to them. Again, it's my fast food. I love Ubisoft. They're my fast food company, even though I shred them. And I can't stand the Guillermo family, and Eves needs to leave the industry, but it's my fast food. So I'll be there for a lot of them, but they've just been chasing their tail. Like we've talked
Mav will
about.
be there because I guess
Yeah.
one of them is the Assassin's Creed multiplayer game. And, Mav will be all over that.
He will.
Now I was excited for the first Assassin's Creed multiplayer. I forget, was it Syndicate or Unity?
The
Unity.
first multiplayer one, that was Brotherhood was the first one.
Was Brotherhood the first one?
Yeah, because 2 didn't have multiplayer, but then Brotherhood
Yeah,
did.
no.
That's
Brotherhood
right.
did? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I never
And
played
so
did
any of the
Syndicate.
multiplayer, that
Or no,
garbage. Unity and then Syndicate.
Revelations was the next one, and that one had
Oh,
multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I remember being excited for, I think, Unity because it had multiplayer, but I didn't like it. I played
Unity
the multiplayer.
Unity had co-op. It didn't actually have multiplayer.
Which Syndicate had, so one of them had multiplayer mode, like an actual legitimate multiplayer mode. It's either Unity
Yeah,
or Syndicate.
a Brotherhood, Revelations.
Between Unity and Syndicate. I think it was Syndicate.
I didn't play Syndicate because everybody hated Assassin's Creed after Unity.
Syndicate's so good. It's my top 3 of all time. It's
Maybe it was
So you're
Syndicate.
saying I missed one because of my dislike of Unity? I missed a banger of
Yeah.
an Assassin's Creed game?
You absolutely did. Yeah, Evie and Jacob Fry. I don't like Jacob's combat, so I played Evie most of the time unless I was forced to do Jacob's runs. But they are great characters, and the characters that you actually meet in that time frame, the NPCs and stuff that you engage with, plus the whole gang system that they have in that, simply fantastic. I think Syndicate's top 3 Assassin's Creed all time for me. I love it. I absolutely do. I think it's a great game. More people should try it. But it doesn't have 60 frames on backwards compatibility. It's the only one. That's why I'm hoping that rumor that they're going to get a patch out is true because they need it.
Problem is, back then they were releasing Assassin's Creed games like every year, so I can't remember. Like they all blend. I can't remember which game. For me, it was that I was excited to dive into the multiplayer. I don't think it was. I don't know if I got Brotherhood because that was like an expansion to 2, right?
I wouldn't say it was expansion. It's a direct sequel, sure, but it's just as big of a game as 2 was.
Direct sequel to 2. Okay.
And then Revelations was a direct sequel to Brotherhood.
Right. I need to go back and play Brotherhood and Revelations. So are they doing some remakes or remasters of
They
this
did
again?
remaster them and put them in the Ezio trilogy. I think they remastered.
Okay. So are they like 4K 60 now and stuff like that?
I don't know if they're 4K 60 because I think they did this during the Xbox One gen.
Mm-hmm.
They are remaking Black
Flag.
Flag,
Okay.
which that is a game a lot of people love. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they. I'd have to check. I think I own because it's like the Ezio trilogy, right? The 3 games that they bundled together.
Right.
But I don't think it's 60, but I could be mistaken.
Well, I think Ubisoft will probably have a sale on them at some point for like $2.
They're on sale all the time.
Yeah.
Ubisoft games are always on sale, like the Assassin's Creed ones.
Buzz says they all run 60 now. So yeah, cool. I don't know if it'd be 4K though. That would be the thing. But if it was like an Xbox One X time period, then it probably would be. So we'll have to wait and see. Day Reezy gifted 5 Fun Speculation memberships earlier. Shout out to Day Reezy. Appreciate you.
I can't do the whole thing, but choo-choo, motherfuckers.
Choo-choo.
Welcome
Yeah,
aboard.
I'll play the video for you. There we go. My video's gone, Pong, because I'm not using the studio. I moved it.
Yeah, that's
Moved the
right. Yeah,
file.
you're not gonna be...
Choo-choo. Okay. Shout out to Dave Reezy. Appreciate the support, man. Jasper says everything Rand said is right, Mav. Stop fighting him. What was I fighting Rand on? Did I fight Rand on something?
I don't even know what we're. What? Yeah, I know you were fighting something about it. I don't know.
I guess Jasper, come on, man. Tell me what it was. What did I say? That
was it about the
argument?
Assassin's Creed stuff? Maybe.
No, I was trying to figure out like the multiplayer. I wasn't saying I was saying I don't remember which multiplayer I was excited for first. Because some of them, like I didn't do Brotherhood and I didn't do Revelations. I don't think, unless I'm wrong in my head and I did play those, but I don't remember for sure. But I remember either Syndicate or Unity had multiplayer. I just don't remember which one. So because those games really blended together for me as well. But yeah, I need to go back and play Brotherhood and Revelations for sure. Um,
There's just too many games, man.
there are. I don't have enough time to play all the damn games we have just coming out. That actually goes into my next thing I just wanted to cover real quick. Like at the end of 2024, when we look back, how will we see 2024 in gaming in comparison to like 2023, what we got last year, and what we know we're getting for 2025? I mean, we're getting crazy amount of awesome games for 2025, but a lot of people have been down this year somewhat, but we still have a lot of the biggest titles coming out the next month or two. So
It will
after
be
will
seen.
we see it as good or bad?
I don't know, but I mean, when people look back on 2024, it'll be seen as a year of job losses, right? I
Right.
mean, how many companies posted? It'll be seen as the year Xbox went third party, or at least started to go third party, I guess. It'd be the year where PlayStation started to embrace PC more, and Nintendo just kept on being Nintendo.
Right.
They just kept on doing what they do. You know?
For you, Rand, where does it line up though, gaming wise? What do you think so far? And again, we're not finished. You still got Stalker 2 and stuff, but what do you think so far? Where do you think it'll line up for you?
For this generation, you mean? Like,
Yeah,
if I had to compare years,
just again, it's always going to be personal because again, everybody likes different types of games. But how has it delivered for you? Is it going to be like a top 5 year all time for you, or is it going to
No.
be no?
No.
Okay,
No.
all right.
top 5 year all time. I mean, like, we got some years in the 360 gen that will.
We did.
Like, for me right now, the best year for this gen was last year.
Yeah.
And I think last year, for me, and I speak this just for me, guys, I think last year easily clears this year. And then it's just a matter of like, okay, is it better than 2022? Is it better than 2021? I'd have to really go back and look. I will say I'm probably last year I beat about 53 games. This year I'm angling for almost 30. So yeah, there's a little bit less for me, but a lot of what people love about this year are genres that I don't have a lot of interest in. So that kind of, skews it. So for some people who's really into RPGs and stuff like that, will be like, this is an amazing year. Well, for me, it's just like, you know. But it'll be a good book year this year. Pong, I'm I'm about 80 this year so far.
Jeez,
Or like 70 or
man.
something.
Congrats,
What?
congrats, Rand.
That's a lot. Specifically for Xbox, where do you see 2024 compared to 2023? When all said and done.
We'll have to see how good Indiana Jones is. I think a lot of it hinges on Indiana Jones, honestly. Because 2021 was great. 2022 was a disaster. 2023 was pretty good, but I mean, you also had like Redfall in there and Minecraft Legends, but you had Hi-Fi Rush and Starfield. So this year, if Indiana Jones is really good, I mean, yeah, I don't think it would come close to 2021 because 2021 you had Halo Infinite, you had Forza Horizon 5, you had Psychonauts 2. I think you had even Flight Sim that year. So I think when you're looking at years, obviously this is obviously going to be subjective for everybody, but 2021 I think it leads the pack. And I think this year, if Indiana Jones is as good as I think it could be, and I'm sure Flight Sim will be great, and then it'd probably be better than 2022. I don't know if it'll be better than 2023 because Hi-Fi Rush was such a surprise and such a great a game that just came out of nowhere, and Starfield was a game that I didn't expect to like as much as I did. So yeah, it would either be like 2 or 3, I suppose.
Right
but
on.
I don't think it's enough to take number 1.
What about you, Pong?
I've already said it. For me, this year will probably go down better than last year. I think it already has. Overall, again, I know it's not the same because people tend to weight the bigger titles more so. But I think overall, again, the number of games that I haven't even gotten to touch as a grazer this year, just because of the amount of games that I want to play, but how great almost everything that I have touched this year has been, and some surprises, right? That I always include in. We got to have those surprises again. Helldivers 2, even though we were excited for it, didn't know how big it was going to turn out to be. It turned out to be freaking amazing, right? And we had a lot of fun with it for, I think I got 60 hours in it or whatever the case may be. But then Dragon's Dogma 2, which is currently my game of the year still as an RPG lover, just freaking through the roof. Loved every moment of that game, and want to go back to it again. And then obviously all the other stuff that we've had along the way, the strategy games, Age of Mythology coming out this year, right? Aura coming out this year. Then you get surprises like Space Marine 2. So just overall gaming this year surpasses last year for me. And I think it's just going to end even bigger than that. Looking at next year could be even greater. I said, we talked about this, man. We all did kind of talking about this 3-year stretch that we saw before us. It's kind of playing into that because next year is already lined up. It could be another one of these years easily, maybe even surpass this year. But yeah, I think for this year, it's for me. It's freaking amazing. As far as Xbox goes, I mean, it's hard to top Starfield. Because Starfield is that game for me. I know that's divisive for other people, but it's always going to be personal. So for me, because Starfield went beyond my expectations, it's hard for me to look at this year with Avowed moving out, even though we've had some really great experiences. I enjoyed my time with Hellblade 2. Obviously, I love Aura to death, love Age of Mythology to death. Probably will play some of Flight Sim, which is now going to be more gamified. I'm going to love Indiana Jones. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, it's tough Starfield for me from Xbox. If Avowed was here this year, maybe it probably could. But yeah,
But then,
yeah,
what about next year? If they
Yeah.
hit all the games that's supposed to hit next year between Avowed, Fable, Doom, South of Midnight, and then whatever else,
that could top Starfield year for me.
yeah,
Right? That could, yeah, because
maybe you get a
again,
Forza Horizon 6.
yeah, or you get a Clockwork Revolution.
Yeah.
Revolution, I think, is ready. I think Exiles that they've got to be close to being ready next year. Now, whether or not Xbox launches or they just keep it till 2026, obviously that might be the play. But yeah, I think Rand, that next year Xbox definitely could blow this year out of the water, especially consistency wise, because it feels like they're going to start the year. Well, we already know they're going to start the year with Avowed, but they've got a couple smaller games ready to rock and roll early next year. So if they line everything up where it is that one every 4 months and it works out perfectly like Phil has envisioned, then yeah, it's going to feel like a simply fantastic year that never really stopped for Xbox. So I think that'll definitely push it over the top.
Don't die, Pong.
I was doing so good, and then it just comes out of
nowhere. Shit. Yeah, man. I'm like, for me, I'm like, okay, 2024. I feel the most overwhelmed that this generation so far, because there's so many different games coming from different places and different genres and variety than I've had in a long time, right? Like we have the strategy games, some of those come from Xbox. We have JRPGs, and these are genres that had kind of somewhat been not delivering as much for me in recent and in a while, until recent years where we had the Age of Empires start to come back and all that kind of stuff. But the strategy games with Aura and which took me by a complete surprise how much I was into Aura. I knew I was going to be interested in it and wanted to give it a go, and think like, hey, this is going to be a cool strategy game to get into, see if I can get into 4X and all that kind of stuff, because I was more into traditional RTSs. But Aura just consumed me, which is crazy. I never anticipated that happening. Age of Mythology Retold, I Was never an Age of Mythology player back in the day, but playing this now, I'm super into it, and I fell in love with that game. And they have lots of awesome content to keep looking forward to already with it. So that's was a huge win for me. But even if we go and look at Helldivers 2, which we played a shit ton of on PC earlier this year, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which was a surprise. Hey, here's another awesome JRPG coming out of left field that is actually really, really fucking good. Then a Unicorn Overlord, a game like that comes out in this day and age and hits as well as it did. Um, Dragon's Dogma 2. There was just, I think this year for me, it had more surprises of games that I really wasn't super high on my radar, but games that I ended up falling in love with, or games that I was curious about and interested in, but ended up feeling like they were amazing. In tons of different genres and stuff. A lot of people were down on Hellblade 2. I fucking loved Hellblade 2. Like, I took it as a way better Hellblade 1. The way they did the combat with the really kind of interactive cinematic elements of it, like, it just kept me immersed and engaged the whole time. Beautiful as well. I took so many damn screenshots of that game. But then I also have always known what's coming around the corner, where we have all of these other big games dropping this holiday. And like tonight, Black Ops 6, which to me is probably going to be the best Call of Duty in a long time, which that counts to me for something because I've always played Call of Duty games. So when we have a great Call of Duty, that adds to that being a good year for me, because I play so much of it. If I'm spending a lot of time playing something, then if it's great, it gets credit for it being a good year. And I think Black Ops 6 is going to kind of be that for Call of Duty. I think it's going to be the best one that we've gotten in a very long time. Based on what I've played in the beta and how much I've played the shit out of that, it's special Call of Duty to me so far from that. And I have a feeling from what we've seen from the campaign, early people's reactions and the sentiment around it right now is still really positive, even with people playing it right now that are in New Zealand or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna be probably enjoying the shit out of that. And then it's just like all these games from the Xbox side that are releasing day and date in Game Pass, first party and not, like Stalker 2 is not, right? But it is getting amazing previews, and I get more and more hyped for it the closer we are to launch. But I'm also into Flight Sim, so I'm excited for that one, right? I'm obviously excited for Indiana Jones as well. We had other games drop this year, like Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess, like such originality and different kinds of games and experiences we didn't usually get a whole lot of, especially on Xbox last generation. So for me, I kind of look at it like just for the amount of variety of different kinds of games and all these different genres, I'm being pulled in so many different directions in 2024 for my time. And that's awesome to me. Like, that's what I want, right? And we'll see. Maybe 2025 can top it, but overall, like, Starfield was a special experience, right? But then I add Shattered Space to that. It just brought me back into Starfield this year. Even though Shattered Space didn't hit for many, it's freaking awesome for me. Diablo 4 had Vessel of Hatred, which is awesome content for that. Something else I'm really into. I haven't played enough of it yet, but I've been into it a little bit so far. That just adds to this year for me as well, right? So there's so many damn good games that came out this year overall. I understand that they're not all necessarily the huge big AAA franchises or big names or some of these things that a lot of people have been looking forward to, but as far as really good games and quality games from tons of different publishers and developers and smaller teams and all this other kind of stuff, it's just they've been hitting, man. So 2024 surpasses 2023 for me so far. It is obviously going to by the end of the year because we even have more coming out. But 2025 will probably be, I mean, it'll be insane. And it's not just from Xbox. It's so many damn games. Like, keep getting announced for 2025, or it got 2025 slates that just look great. And we also have a lot of new IP and cool stuff looking for 2025.
You know, we always say that, and then those games, a lot of those games end up getting delayed to the next year.
That's true.
Every year, it's always like, oh man, it's gonna be great, and then some of those games slip.
If one of the big Xbox games doesn't actually come out in 2025, which one is it? The ones that they've already announced.
Fable.
Fable.
Absolutely. I mean,
that's the one they've seen more timid about. Keep mentioning 2025.
Well, we know Avowed's coming February, right? Yeah. I think it is on target.
Mm-hmm.
Even from Tom Warren's reporting, he said that Fable was targeting like a October to December timeframe. That's late in the year, so that could easily slip if something doesn't go right. So yeah, if I had to pick one, it'd be that one.
Slide Clockwork Revolution in there, and I'm cool.
But you know what? let's not talk about that getting delayed. Hopefully they can have a year where the games they announce for the year all actually make it and not have to get delayed.
Yeah. Let's hope so. Because if they do and they space them out, we could actually have that like one every few months type experience of always something really big to look forward to. And then obviously there'll be smaller stuff filled in between there as well, right?
You probably the one wild card in all this is GTA 6. Because whenever that game decides to release, games are gonna go like they are going to go flying.
Let's say
some might get delayed to next year, the following year. Like if they announce that they're coming out, like other games will announce, hey, we're coming this whatever, right? Like say a bunch of games announce they're coming in September, and then GTA's like, we're launching in September. Bye to those games. They ain't staying in September anymore, right? So, you know, if you're Microsoft, like for example, let's say you date Fable for October, right? And then here comes GTA 6, and they're like, we're launching in October. Do you move Fable? Do you move Fable to November? I mean, does anybody want to take on GTA 6? I don't think so.
Booty already said that they're paying attention to it. So yeah, absolutely, of course. Yeah, no, GTA 6 is the unicorn that you run away from. Like there's very few of those I would say that about, but GTA 6 is one.
Unless you could come up before, right? If you somehow come out like maybe a couple weeks beforehand or something.
Sure, maybe. But I don't know. Depends on the type of game. Fable being a long game, a longer game, probably, most likely. It'd be a tough one too, because I don't know, Rand. I don't know. But yeah, no, I think GTA 6 is the one and only though that you do pay attention to. Like you have to. You have to.
I think you want like a month space before GTA 6 because like beforehand, because like the marketing and hype and excitement around that is just going to be absolutely bananas, and like anything that kind of releases is I feel like still going to be drowned out by all the GTA 6 conversation that's going to be happening around that time.
I mean, how confident are you that it'll come out next year? Are you still like riding the train that might still be delayed to 2026?
I'm like 40% it actually launches in 2025.
Yeah.
When they said 2025, it surprised me. I still count it when we're counting the games for next year because that's what they said, right? But it's just one that surprised me that they actually said it, you know? And then when they said it, I was like, oh, wow, okay. But like, it just seems like that's the one that would be the easiest to like just guess. It's like, it's not, they're going to need a few more months. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it always happens, right? So I kind of wish they didn't say it. I wish they hadn't said 2025 until they're ready to like announce a release date. So I'm hoping they were really confident and that I'm wrong. But if the thing is, like, we're at this point now to where, yeah, we're disappointed when it's the games we're excited for that get pushed back. But as far as like Xbox is concerned, it's not going to be like 2022 or early 2024 where we have like nothing, and like we're gonna have so much stuff all the time that it's like less of a blow to have something moved, right? But like 2022 was like an ultimate disaster for them because like everything ended up having to get pushed back and delayed out of it and all that kind of stuff. But when one game gets pushed back like Fable, if it happens. I don't think it'll end up being a massive, huge deal. Even though conversations will be at the time, Xbox does it again. They can't get their pipeline right or their stuff in order. But overall, you're gonna have a shit ton of stuff next year, regardless. So I'm more curious about what the surprise games are that we don't know about for 2025, because that's always a thing too. It seems like
That is true. Yeah. Contraband be next year?
could be.
I haven't seen it for a while. Everwild, Phil's doing a tour of the Europe studios, I think, and he's talking about playing Everwild.
Yeah.
So
I think next year there'll be one game or two that are like medium sized to bigger games that we don't know about are coming next year, and then it'll be the small stuff too. Like
what about like the Elder Scrolls remaster, like Oblivion,
that'll
the Fallout 3 one?
Fallout, probably.
I hope it. Which one's first?
I'd love both to come out. I would say Fallout now. If I
would say, I think, wasn't the rumor Oblivion's first?
I would think that Oblivion would be first, but with the Fallout popularity resurge, I could see them pushing the Fallout one first. But again, give me Oblivion all day long. Obviously, I'm a bigger Elder Scrolls fan than I'm a Fallout fan, but I would love to see Fallout 3 remade. I think it would be freaking fantastic. Either way.
Oblivion. I would like if Oblivion. Is it more of just like a polished up remaster, or is it like kind of?
I mean, from all what people talk about in the rumors, it's just a remaster. So it's not going to be like a remake or anything.
Right.
So
it depends on how much work they put into it. But Oblivion it's the game that really got me into Bethesda.
What they really need to do is take Morrowind and put it into the new creation engine and do a full rebuild of Morrowind. It would be like a brand new game.
Yeah.
And it would be such a huge seller if they did it, because so many people love Morrowind still to this day and play it. It would be like a brand new release. But if they took that one, because that one deserves to be redone completely and put in creation engine 2, holy shit, bro. It'd be nuts. They would sell millions upon millions. So I hope they're being serious though. I hope Bethesda has made a move internally to try to speed things up, and also increase production and be able to do things on the side like these, remasters, remakes, whatever. I hope they are doing that, because that's what big time studios do now. And it's look how many times they've resold Skyrim. I mean, you're gonna make money if you're Bethesda, and it just makes sense to keep those games coming up to date. Like, it just really does. So I can't wait. Hopefully that's the case.
It's interesting. All these games are going to be coming out, but then the conversation's still always going to be like which games are going to PlayStation. Like even with Call of Duty, like launch day tonight or launch night, you had two different reports coming out on the same day contradicting each other. I saw this article from CCF Tech quoting, I think, Extos, who's had some leaks before, kind of an insider personality out there in the community, that was saying that due to the reception of the Indiana Jones announcement, I guess, of the port coming so soon to PlayStation, that they're slowing down, not stopping, but slowing down putting games on PlayStation. I don't know if that means less or if that means longer distances from the Xbox release, one or the other. I'm not sure exactly. But then also,
or it doesn't mean anything.
Or it doesn't mean anything. And then you have Satya, celebrating the releases of the games on PlayStation also, like
and saying that that they're going to continue to put games elsewhere. I mean, we knew they're going to put games elsewhere. I mean, they literally said it, and Satya doesn't care about any of this stuff. So it is what it is.
What games do you think they have ready for Switch 2 launch? What do you think, Rand?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Like if I'm them, I definitely want to see a Thieves port ready,
right,
for launch.
It's a good.
I think Sea of Thieves would be really successful on the Switch.
Mm-hmm. That's a great one, by the way.
Are we
Black Ops 6?
Maybe. I would say the next COD would probably be the one that would be day and date. But I mean, it's possible they have COD ready. Another game that, I mean, there's only the 4 that have gone over, and I think Grounded is on the Switch, and so is Pentiment.
Right.
So Hi-Fi Rush potentially, but But if I'm going to pick something new,
Yeah.
Forza Horizon 5.
Ooh, good one.
And I'd say maybe you align that with launching Forza Horizon 5 on the Switch 2 and the PS5 at the same time.
Mhm.
And then reveal Forza Horizon 6 that year for release on Xbox, only coming to Xbox and PC. I think Forza Horizon 5 would do pretty damn well on both systems.
Yep.
It's the premier racing. I don't care what anybody says. It's the premier racing franchise right now.
Sure.
Or game, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had to pick one that hasn't jumped yet, it'd be Forza Horizon.
Forza
That's a
Horizon
great
4 like was taken off on Steam because of a sale. Destin Lagaria posted a picture of like the Steam players.
Down.
It was like I forget how many.
It was like 70,000 or something.
Yeah, it's because it's getting delisted and it was on sale for like $10. I guess you could also say, Pong.
Yeah.
I think because the Switch hasn't been announced yet, so a lot of games are just announced for PC, PS5, and Xbox. Right. But something like Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Because the other Dooms are on there, even though like they were pretty miraculous ports, if I remember correctly, considering people didn't think they could do it right on the original Switch. So I could easily see them being like, yes, Doom: The Dark Ages is also going to be on Switch at launch as well. Whenever when do we even expect Doom: The Dark Ages to launch? Like May?
I had a feeling summer next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect summer game. Yeah.
Because then,
early spring or late spring, early summer.
Switch 2 is rumored to be coming out like March, April timeframe. So,
correct.
Yeah. How many games would Xbox have for launch?
That's what I was.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Nope. Could they?
Indiana Jones?
I thought about this. I think Indiana Jones, Starfield, potentially, if they're working on Starfield, putting it elsewhere. If
I don't think Starfield would be there for launch.
Maybe not for launch. My feeling though is my feeling though is Rand is that, and I don't know how you feel about it. Like eventually, like once Switch 2 launches and everything, like we could eventually I could see Xbox putting more games first party wise over there on Switch than they do on PlayStation 5. I think more games show up on Nintendo side than even PlayStation 5. And I still think they're going to do a lot for PlayStation, but I think that Switch could just be like a PC where they just start putting games there anyways, right? Unless they are planning on having their handheld out soon. And then they want to save some of the surprises for their handheld as well. That's the only way I see they don't do it. Because Switch 2 is going to be so massive. I don't know how you can ignore it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're going to support both of them equally.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I would be surprised if there wasn't an Xbox related game at the Switch launch. Like if we got to the Switch launch and there's no Xbox games, I'd be like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like you figure Sea of Thieves would be the perfect game and it's already multi-platform.
Yep.
It's like, all right, that would do really well, but who knows with development and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't get dev kits early. Maybe it's not even Rare doing the port. It'd be some other studio and they just didn't get it ready on time. I don't know.
Yeah. I just think like you that it would be crazy not to have a launch title or two ready.
Yeah.
Switch 2. I think you got to capitalize on that. It's going to be massive. Yeah. For sure.
That was a good question.
Just curious.
Yeah. It has me racking my brain, about because they are. I mean, when they said they're going to support Switch for Call of Duty, right? Like that was I was thinking that, but yeah, maybe Rand's right. It's not ready yet, so maybe they wait a year or bring it out later. But I could see something like is Fallout already on the Switch?
I don't know.
I could see something like if there is like a Fallout,
like a Fallout 76.
Something like that.
Fallout 4, maybe?
I'm wondering if Nintendo's also going to push multiplayer a little bit more with the Switch too. And having some big multiplayer titles. Because they've been progressively, as the Switch generation's gone on, like done more and more with that stuff. And like if the Switch 2 has better online functionality and stuff like that, it could...
Fallout 4 is not on Switch yet. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, like I'm wondering if some... Is it?
It said, Fallout 4 was just announced from Nintendo reveal trailer on YouTube May 2nd, 2024.
Really?
Yeah.
What did
I don't remember.
Did that happen?
There's a YouTube video
What
for
was
it.
that when they had the big update for
No.
Fallout 4
Maybe
that came out this
yeah.
year?
There's a full trailer. Unless somebody just oh no, it was a joke. Never mind, it was a
Okay.
joke.
Right.
He
Some
put
of the-
Minecraft looking stuff in it. This is what it
You
was
never
gonna
trust.
look like.
You never trust YouTube.
Yeah, you
These
can. That's why I
YouTubers.
started watching it. That's why I started watching it because it's just to see. But yeah, so Fallout 4 would make a lot of sense. Fallout 76 would make sense. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, something like that, you know. I think maybe
Because
like
Mav, real quick. I'm not
Yeah.
jumping on you, but I just real
Go ahead.
quick. The sense to me is a lot of what they're going to do early on is filling in games that aren't on those
Mhm.
platforms, that the genres that aren't represented or types of games that aren't represented in grand fashion on those. That's what it seems like they're trying to fill in on PlayStation, and obviously on Nintendo. So it just makes sense that they would bring over like those big. Yes, you got Zelda, and yes, you've got other RPGs on Switch, but not the Western RPGs, not the Bethesda. Like it'd be great to see those roll over because that does. You got an audience over there who doesn't had that experience before that may pick it up because they're Switch only players.
Yeah.
So it does.
I mean,
make
you
sense.
could make a thing by like some of these most classic games or whatever that have been like heavily played by moving them over finally, you know. I'm still curious about the reports of the like Gears and Halo and you know Forza, the traditional Xbox games. You know, you could count Fable with that and all that kind of stuff. And if we're gonna end up seeing those other places and where and when, right? Those are gonna be the ones that are gonna cause the most stir, obviously, whenever those are announced. But ultimately, for me, it doesn't really affect me at all. So, but it's gonna be an interesting conversation to see how this happens. 2025 is gonna be fucking nuts.
Well, do you remember how excited Xbox fans were about this time a year ago? Because the deal had just closed,
Yeah,
and everybody was like feeling pretty good. And then all of a sudden, the beginning of January, it was like, oh, by the way, an Xbox game is about to come to Switch or another platform, and then people are like, what?
Oh yeah,
and then Phil and
the community. Pretty
yeah,
much.
then Phil and Sarah and Matt had to sit everybody down and being like, "Don't worry, guys, everything will be okay. It's just 4 games for now."
Yeah.
Yep, and it never. Yeah, that
the community hasn't been the same since then. Really, since
it never
since
will
all-
be the same.
Yeah.
It's done and over with.
Yeah, it's kind
even
of
even the people that still don't, that still, you know, are super fans of that, you know, of one plastic box or another. Like honestly, I think even deep down, all of them realize that it's not going to be the same because the competition it's over with. It's not going to be the way it used to be, and they're not going backwards. Microsoft isn't going to go backwards on this. So honestly, deep down, they all realize it. That's why the energy just isn't the same with anybody in this community anymore when it comes to that kind of side of things. But overall, all of those of us that have been gamers all along, shit, we out here still celebrating. Does it suck? Yeah. Like I said, this wouldn't be my way to go about things, but it is what it is at the end of the day. And so now I'm just fascinated by questions like I asked, like what's going to come to Switch 2 on launch? You know, they got to have, you would think they got to have something there, right? What's going to be the first game that shows up with PS5 Pro enhancements, right? From Xbox. What's that going to look like? Just curious about that. And then obviously they still got their new hardware in the works that I totally am on board with, and I can't wait to see what they do. But it is a different industry right now overall. Things have changed so dramatically since we started podcasting, even in 2020, and especially for somebody like you, Rand, that's been around a lot longer, watching this go down from the inside because you were talking about this all the time. It is nuts how fast tech can come and go and change, and all of a sudden entire business models are just totally wiped off the face of the planet. We're trying something completely new that we've never seen before. It's fun, man. I love this.
You remember how Meta was going to take over everything, like with that whole thing and all these
On
companies.
Stadia was going to dominate.
Yeah, you had NFTs. All these games are going to be NFT games now and stuff. Like, you never know what's going to happen. I do know, like, overall this year has changed and this generation, it's been kind of a slow process, but like this generation has changed the way I play games, not just the games I play, but the way I play games more than any other, because I've been using the cloud more and more as this gen has gone on, where this year I'm using it a lot, and I'm actually playing like most nights when we're hanging out in bed and we're watching a movie, after we've all played our games and different things and stuff, we'll me and my wife will chill in bed and we'll watch whatever movie we're watching for the night, right? And I got this pillow in front of me, that I have a OLED Samsung tablet, and I either console stream or I do from a Game Pass app, and I'll just sit there, or I'll do Steam Link also, and I'll sit there and I'll play games, and it's fucking great. It's like it's sometimes I get lost that it's not even like native because it looks so good and plays so good, right? And I'm completely content playing that way, and I'll play here on my PC. Like last year, I bought the PC just for Starfield because I didn't want to play it at 30 frames at launch. I wanted to play it in its full glory, and man, what an experience it was seeing that on the PC after I got it. But I've been playing gradually this year more and more on PC as well, and on Xbox. I still play on my Xboxes, but I'm sitting here more than I ever have before playing my games. But it's playing on my Xbox, which is right here, or playing on my PC, and appreciating the whole, you can play anywhere, your progress, your games go wherever you are. Like for me, that's been something that I've used a shit ton, right? And this year, by far more than ever. So when I kind of see this whole future for Xbox and what they're doing, I'm just like, okay, it's more places that I can choose to play their games if I want to, you know? And I really haven't been the, like, I understand the business side and we can have conversations and arguments on that stuff, right? Or there's a lot of people that were upset and things like that. But for me, when they made this announcement, it never really affected me like that, like it did a lot of people, because I only focused on what my experience is, and my experience this generation has only gotten better with the games that I have to look forward to, with the acquisitions that they made. They're all still going into Game Pass day and date. They're adding more features to the cloud finally, and getting the game ownership library going over there in November now finally. So like all these things keep adding to my personal experience, and I'm like, hey, I'm getting more games. Games that used to skip Xbox last generation, like franchises, have been coming over, the bigger ones, like the Yakuza, you got Persona. Now you have even, not only is Atlas not just putting the Persona games there, but they went with Xbox on marketing for their big new IP, like with Metaphor. We have other games like used to not be able to get on Xbox, like Unicorn Overlord that hit this year. Like overall, as like a gamer in this ecosystem, I am fucking so happy, and I just see that continuing to improve as it grows. So for me, when you say, hey, PlayStation guys or whatever get to play a game that I used to be able to only get on Xbox, I'm just like, okay, that's cool. You know, more games for different people, that's fine. I understand the way it used to be, and the way that it's been has always been used for, you know, hey, this is what makes this place special. This is why you buy this box and stuff. But I think we're just getting past that with Xbox. I think the community that was bound around that idea is shattered. But hopefully everybody moves on and just enjoys the damn games. And maybe the console warring will eventually be gone, and the focus can just get about hey, what awesome games we have to look forward to again, you know, because ultimately you're still getting the games.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know if it was ever really about that for some people. A lot of these people that are leading the front lines of the console war and the list war and stuff don't play games. They certainly don't really finish anything, and they really ever play anything. So, you know, it's just, and it's always been like that. Sometimes the biggest talkers are the ones who play the least.
Right.
You know, and that goes for both sides. Like there are PlayStation guys that I know don't play games, and there are Xbox guys who I know don't play games. But they're the loudest talkers on Twitter and social media. They make it seem like it, but it's never been about the games for them. It's been about like winning, like, you know, your football team winning or something. Sorry about your Cowboys this year, man. It's
I'm in tank mode.
Know.
Really?
You're in tank mode?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? How about my Bears, though? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
feeling pretty good
with
with
Caleb.
Caleb.
You got a quarterback.
Finally,
man.
after so long.
It's been a while since y'all have had a quarterback that's
Forever.
actually looked great.
They'll
Yeah.
ruin them eventually.
When was the last
why do you gotta
time-
say that, Pong? Why do you gotta say that?
Because it's the truth. Look at the history.
What?
Of your
Justin
quarterback.
Fields, who was never good. Mitch Trubisky, who was never good. Jay Cutler, who was never good. Like, what are you,
now
what are you
you're gonna
talking
have
about?
Cutler? Oh my
Where
God.
do you go
Jay
back
Cutler was
to?
awful. Are
Oh
you
my
serious?
God. It's the Bears.
I lived through the Jay Cutler era.
It's the organization.
Where do you go back to as a Bears fan to look for when you had the best quarterback? Because like even like going back to '85 Bears, where you had like Jim McMahon.
And Jim
like,
McMahon, he
was
wasn't
good,
Eric
but-
Kramer.
It wasn't like he wasn't the reason they won the Super Bowls.
Pong, who's your team, Pong? Let's hear it.
Well, I'm the Vikings because I'm Minnesota.
Oh,
but I don't.
here
I don't
we
watch.
go with the
I don't watch
Vikings.
football anymore. Yeah, no, but it's the. But we.
Now
We've
I
got,
know why he doesn't want the Bears to be good.
Oh
I
yeah,
get it.
no. Listen, heartbreak. See, I mean, that's what we live through here. I mean, again, being Minnesota fan is one of the worst fan. It's one of the worst.
But you're
things of all
literally
time,
just
right?
you were literally just undefeated.
Sure, right. Again, but look what's happening now. So, but again, I don't watch football like that anymore. But yeah, no, I mean, I just gotta give you a hard time because I've obviously paid a lot of attention. I played fantasy football for nearly 30 years or over 30 years. So, it's just funny because the Bears organization have drafted a lot of high quarterbacks and they just have never panned out.
Never. The Caleb Williams. is
Yeah,
probably
because
the
they
first
suck.
one.
They picked the wrong people. Don't even begin to tell me that Justin Fields was a great quarterback, Pong.
No. But I'm saying in a different organization, I think he could have been for
Well,
sure.
he's
I
not
think
really
he
doing
could
that much
be.
better with the Steelers.
Right. Correct. You're absolutely correct. But again, not everybody's a quarterback whisperer either, right? And the Steelers have had their own quarterback problems picking their own quarterbacks too. They haven't done a good job.
I mean,
either.
you could maybe argue that maybe they're just not good at picking
Developing.
offensive talent.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
okay, you picked Mitch Trubisky instead of taking Patrick Mahomes and whoever else was available at that time or whatever.
And it's not like they've gone way off the board. I mean, there's been consensus talent that they've looked at and thought the same thing. So it's not like, again, it's a crapshoot in the NFL for quarterbacks anyways. It's just funny that the Bears have had so many runs at quarterbacks and just they haven't panned out at all.
Hey, sometimes broken clock, right? Twice a day, right?
But you guys have Super Bowl wins. So again, that's all that matters at the end of the day. So
I mean, you can go to most franchises. You can count on one hand or less how many great quarterbacks they've had, right?
Sure.
Like Cowboys.
Well, the Vikings have had a lot of great quarterbacks, but look at what's gotten us. A lot
unless you're the Packers and you've had a great quarterback, like
correct. You've got Hall of Fame quarterback after Hall of Fame
or the
quarterback.
49ers too, who just like luck out with somebody like Purdy. You know what I mean? We'll see how he turns out though. Like he had a great first few years, but we'll see if he has the longevity. But yeah, the Packers, man, they've going from Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. That's just crazy. The
thing that I feel for you is you just paid Dak $60 million.
That's why I'm in tank mode. We got to figure out some kind of way to fix this scenario.
We're still on Caleb Williams' rookie contract for the next 3 or 4 years or whatever it is. So
yeah, my idea is to trade Dak to the Browns because they like overpaying for other people's quarterbacks and they need a quarterback because Deshaun Watson.
So who do you want to return? Deshaun Watson?
I don't want anything in return. I
just want to get rid of Dak.
I just want us to lose every game for the rest of the season because we're going to be. I don't like watching my team live in mediocrity for a long time, and that's what the Cowboys have been doing for extreme amounts. I know they've had good years where we actually thought they had a chance, right? But overall, they've always like failed at the end, and most of the time in the playoffs, it's been Dak has been the issue, right? When it's gotten into crunch time. We actually, when we played the 49ers, our defense actually did great, and we just gave the game away on offense. There was too much of that, and then you see, like, I don't know. I think he's, like, a good quarterback, but overall, you don't give a good quarterback that kind of contract because it just cripples you. And overall, you have the team is suffering now in all the other facets because you overpay players that aren't really all they're cut out for to actually take you where you need to go. So, but that's the crutch of the Cowboys. That's what always happens with them. So I don't know.
That's a little football in your
Yeah.
little sports in the gaming podcast.
Yeah. I'm in tank mode because like overall we need cheap, young, good talent to really turn this to get to where we can potentially be great again. Anyway, yeah. Side tangent. Fun speculation sports coming next year, 2025. It's gonna be a crazy year. We're moving on from Xbox. Number Xbox. It's gonna be Sports Ultimate. Anyway,
Flip flopping industries.
Yeah, that's some people said I should just stop doing Xbox and just start talking about books. Change the channel into a book channel.
yeah, could be. Yeah,
But
no, I'm completely down with Xbox, like the ecosystem. Eventually they could end up rebranding or do different stuff. Who knows what the future holds for them, right? But ultimately, like the ecosystem that I'm in is like where I'm happy, So we'll continue to ride with them until there's nothing more. But it's not going to be because they go out of business. It's going to be because they've ascended into something else eventually, right? But yeah, we're seeing that transition. But that's why I think 2025 is going to be so crazy, because we're going to see even more changes in the industry. But we're also going to see the Switch 2 come out. If GTA 6 actually comes out on time, we're going to see that. You're going to probably see more teased hardware from Xbox as well, or more mentions of it, because they've already mentioned it a few times this year. So you might have some more talk with that. And then games-wise, it's just going to be nonstop awesome stuff next year. So, Antonio Newman says, get me on Fun Speculation Sports. I used to work for the Falcons. Right on, dude. Which era? Which era were you? Were you there with the Vic era Falcons? There with the Matt Ryan era Falcons? Or you were there doing the Dirty Bird back in the day?
Dirty Bird.
Yeah, man. But yeah,
Yeah.
Go ahead and get everybody out of here. I appreciate everybody being here tonight on this episode of PM and the PM, where I've done my best to take over. It's felt weird, man. My energy is just weird tonight. It's felt weird trying to replace Pong on this show.
Because you're not doing your normal, man. It's
No,
all right. We're not doing a show tomorrow night, so this kind of made up for it. You get to sit in the chair. So.
Yeah.
But
No
I get it. It's
no
just
Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night.
We're going to be streaming multiplayer Black Ops.
Oh,
we're having special edition.
Hey, we're going to have Xbox 2 tomorrow, so
yeah,
Well,
it should be good.
You guys have been a lot more consistent, Rand. You guys been doing.
I mean, trying to. I mean, I would love to do it every Friday, but sometimes Jez was, I think he was just
traveling and whatever.
Traveling and just played Indiana Jones, which was an event on the Friday, and there's sometimes it just can't. I was sick. And it's like, well, if you can't, I always want to do the show. So if I can't make it Friday, well, let's do it a Saturday or let's do it a Monday or something, right? Instead of just like skipping.
And then you screw up Gaz.
Yeah, no, I feel bad about that.
It's all right. He deserves it too sometimes. Don't worry about it.
It happens sometimes. I remember the first year I did when I was doing the whole E3 thing, where I went around and interviewed like everybody in the community and I worked for like weeks and weeks on this video editing and stuff. And I mean, like, you couldn't even if I had it stretched out all the way, like as far as like the time like could go on your editing software. I mean, it's like the little clips are like this. It was insane. Like my PC couldn't even hardly handle if I was doing any more changes to it. Like, spent a lot of time working on it and stuff, and then I finally got it out, and I dropped it. And I remember Rand making a post being like, we're about to go live for surprise Xbox 2 podcast or something. And it was like right when I dropped the video, I'm like, fuck, oh damn it. But then I watched Xbox 2. But yeah, it's you never can worry about that kind of stuff. I think like it's a lot of people I remember like would mess with me, hey, when's your show gonna be? Because like this, like, just do your show when you want to, man. Don't worry about it. Like, whatever works for the person, ultimately. And we're all making our own content and stuff, so we're all part of a bigger community. But like, some people worry about stepping on other people's toes too much, I think. Anyway, all right, Rand Althor.
Yes,
everybody
sir.
knows where they can find you, I think.
Sure.
But just in case they're oblivious to Xbox and the whole community and podcasting in general, since you're one of the goats. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh, that's not true. Come on now.
Oh.
I mean, you could check me out youtube.com/RandallThor19. Xbox 2 every Fridays. I'm also on Twitter, although I barely use the platform. And yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. It was great. I wish Pong felt better. Hopefully Pong will feel better soon. So, yeah, 3 hours went by pretty fast. I look at the clock and I see it's 9, and I'm like, oh my god, 3 hours.
Yeah, it was pretty damn fast.
Pretty quickly.
Well, thanks for sticking with us through the 3-hour show. And yeah, it was fun, man. It's been a while since we even had a guest on this show. So, weird show. First time in a long time with a guest. And I'm hosting this one, which is also weird for me. But I think we had a great time, and I appreciate you being here. Pong Soul, what about you, sir? Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, everybody, thanks for sticking it out again. Sorry that I'm not 100% tonight, but appreciate Mav stepping in lead role, as he's obviously more than capable and the expert that he is doing so as CEO of the Fun Speculation Network. So thanks, Mav. I appreciate it, brother. Sorry, man. I wish I could do it, especially with Rand being here. Rand, appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for being here tonight. God, it's so annoying. Appreciate you being here tonight, man. And it's been such a long time. And yeah, I wish I was 100%, man, for your first show back in a long time. But thank you for giving us your time so much. And yeah, man, I'll keep this short tonight. Everybody, you guys know how to find me, Pong Soul everywhere. Follow me, I'll follow you back. Tomorrow night, like Mav said, we're going to be streaming some Black Ops 6. I'm hopefully just keep getting better here so I could talk a little bit and say my normal craziness that I get into when I'm playing multiplayer, which you guys know. I'm a whole different person during that time. But yeah, we're going to have some fun. And then no living split screen Saturday again. Steele's got real life stuff that he's dealing with, so we're not doing leaving split screen Saturday morning. Maybe we'll do another stream this weekend, or maybe Black Ops 6 streaming with the family. Who knows? We'll figure that out. But Saturday night, the Shop podcast, PTK Blam's channel, Fuzzy Belvedere, myself, and PTK will usually have a guest or two. So please join us there, 10 p.m. Eastern. 9 o'clock Central, or 9 p.m. Central time for that. Otherwise, Golden Age of Gaming, everybody. Get out there, play what you love what you play, and I'll talk to y'all real soon. Have a good night. Thanks, everybody.
Right on, man. Thank you, sir. And everybody in the chat, you guys rock. Thank you so much. If you have a chance, check us out on audio platforms. You can check out the Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, and leave us a review on there. Greatly helps people find us as well. And if you like the content, like button, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff too. Appreciate it. And I hope you all have an awesome night. Play some COD, play some Black Ops 6. You won't find Rand Althor playing multiplayer in your lobbies, unfortunately. But you could find me or Pong. And tomorrow night, like we said, we will have Xbox Ultimate Podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern time. But it's not Xbox Ultimate Podcast per se. It's Xbox Ultimate Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Murder Each Other. That's what it's going to be. We're going to have a blast. Tune in. See you, everybody. Peace out.